Chapter 1378. With that, Yongye Wuheng looked at his sister. And you, if you successfully break the curse, don't come back. The Empire is in danger. Maybe when you come back, the Empire will no longer exist. Yongye Chushue's pretty face was full of sadness. The south was in chaos, the north region was in rebellion, and Nitian Guyun was adding fuel to the fire. The Empire of Darkness was indeed at the juncture of life and death. Take good care of my sister, my only sister. Yongye Wuheng stared at the two of them as he stepped back and gave them a comforting smile. It was as if he was saying goodbye to them forever. He was going back to fight Nitian Hanxing to the death. After this battle, he would never come back. No! The brother and sister were connected by blood. Understanding her brother's determination, Yongye Chushue stepped forward to stop him, but how could she outrun Yongye Wuheng? He turned around, his eyes bursting with a fierce light. He held a long sword in his hand, flashing like thunder. However, at the moment when his figure flickered, a purple-gold yin-yang ring suddenly escaped from his body, causing him to tumble. That indomitable spirit was instantly destroyed completely. Now is not the time to die in vain. Su Yu looked at the battlefield in the distance, only to hear a mournful cry that lingered for a long time. A commander had fallen. Yongye Wuheng insisted, "Brother Su, if you still remember my kindness, let me go. The Empire is in a storm, and I have no home to return to. Even my woman has been taken away for 10 years, and I can't avenge her. What is the point of me living in this world? Oh, so I can't let you die. You can endure for 10 years, why can't you endure for a few more years?" Su Yu's eyes burst with a deep light and he smiled. "Come with me to the Lost Nation. Maybe, there, you will have a different encounter." Yongye Wuheng was stunned and moved by Su Yu's confident eyes. "I have encountered many desperate situations, and every time I would have died. I have lived until now, not because I have given up, but because I will live forever. As long as I have a thought, I will fight forever." Hearing this, Yongye Wuheng's eyes gradually brightened. Yes, so what if the Empire was gone? He still had time to slowly cultivate and take back everything that had been taken from him. After releasing the violet gold rings of Yin Yang, Yongye Wuheng bowed to Su Yu and said, "Thank you for your advice, Brother Su. I know what to do now." "Then, let's go." Su Yu revealed a faint smile as he stepped into the dense fog. After fighting in the distance for half a cup of tea's time, Nitian Hanxing was covered in blood. Holding the life-reversing snake sword, he reached the edge of the fog in anger. The Lost Nation was vast and boundless. It was said that it was 10 times larger than the entire ancient god domain. Furthermore, the fog that existed all year round had isolated their auras. It was impossible for them to use their auras to chase after them. In other words, finding them was like finding a needle in a haystack. Nitian Hanxing's eyes revealed an arrogant defiance. "The woman that I fancy, the treasure that I fancy, none of them can escape." Lost Nation, Evil Warding Villa. After resting for a while, the three of them sat around the campfire. However, the atmosphere was a little strange. Yongye Chushue stared at Su Yu and Yongye Wuheng, without blinking. Both of them were embarrassed by her stare. "Brother, so you already knew that the mysterious man with the head of a dragon was Su Yu?" Yongye Wuheng said awkwardly, "Well, sister, listen to me. Actually, I wanted to, liar." Yongye Chushue gritted her teeth and stopped Yongye Wuheng from speaking. Then, she glared at Su Yu, but her gaze was much gentler than before, and it was filled with shyness and fear. She then said, "You stole my things, and you even treated me like that by the lake. How could you deceive me?" Su Yu was helpless. During the battle with Prince Yun and Azura, Su Yu had used the violet gold rings of Yin Yang. At that time, Yongye Chushue was stunned. Because she was trapped by the demon with the head of a dragon with the body of a human with the body of a dragon. She was a clever woman, and she immediately understood. The demon with the head of a dragon and the body of a human was Su Yu. After entering the Lost Nation, her confrontation with Su Yu had confirmed her suspicions, which made her angry and ashamed. What made her even angrier was that her brother had known all along, but had deliberately hidden it from her. This feeling of being deceived drove her crazy. Su Yu said, "How do you explain standing beside me and leaving the arena? My identity as a demon is wanted by the ancient god realm. How could I dare to reveal it? Therefore, I could only hide it. I did not mean to deceive you. I hope you can understand." Listening to Su Yu's patient and gentle explanation, Yongye Chushue's heart warmed. Not only did her resentment disappear immediately, but she also felt that she had been too aggressive and inconsiderate. She hurriedly said softly, "I'm sorry, I don't blame you. It's not your fault." Su Yu said embarrassedly, "But it's not the princess's fault, it's me." As soon as he said this, Yongye Chushua felt flustered, and she suddenly pointed the finger at Yongye Wuheng. "Yes, it's not you or me who is at fault. It's all my brother's fault. Why did you hide it from me for no reason?" "Yes, it's him." Yongye Wuheng, who had been implicated, opened his mouth and said, "Sister, how could you do this?" Yongye Chushua was angry when he did not say it. She grabbed a handful of sand and threw it at him. She said angrily, "It's you, it's your fault. I don't care, it's all my brother's fault anyway." Yongye Wuheng muttered angrily, "We haven't even gotten married yet, and you already treat me as an outsider. Alas, a grown girl can't be kept at home." Yongye Chushue's ears were sharp, and her whole face turned red when she heard this. She shouted angrily, You, what nonsense are you talking about? If you keep this up, I will ask Su Yu to drive you away. You are not allowed to come with us." Okay, I won't talk about it anymore." Yongye Wuheng was very depressed. His sister, who had been obedient since childhood, turned hostile faster than anyone else when she fell in love with someone else. Su Yu smiled and felt that the relationship between the brother and sister was very good. "Well, now you should tell me your specific destination, right?" Su Yu finally asked the question in his heart. Since it was an escort, it was impossible to have no destination. Yongye Chushua calmed down, but her face was still red. She did not dare to look into Su Yu's eyes, so she said softly, "We are going to the Holy Land of the Moonwatch sect." "What is that place?" Su Yu was surprised. Yongye Chushua said, "It is the end of the Lost Nation, and it is also the birthplace of the Moonwatch sect. It is said that the fog that fills the sky comes from that place." Yongye Wuheng added, "There are ancient tombs of the Moonwatch sect masters, which are full of strong sorcery energy. To remove the sorcery energy in my sister, we can only rely on the sorcery energy of the sect masters." Su Yu had seen the sorcery curse on her body. It was dangerous and unpredictable, and it could not be removed by ordinary methods. "Then why are you so confident that you can cross the Lost Nation? Even if you do not encounter the followers of the Moonwatch sect, the ferocious beasts in the fog will be very dangerous, right?" The original mission plan was for Yongye Chushua to go alone, and Su Yu would only play a supporting role. How could Yongye Chushua be so confident at that time? "Of course we are confident." Yongye Chushua took out an ancient map. Most of the map was blank, which meant that she had never set foot in this place. However, on the map there was a bright red line running through the whole place, leading to the deepest part. This was left by an ancestor of the Empire of Darkness when he was exploring the Lost Nation. There is not much danger on this route. As long as we cross an area called the Thousand Demons Ridge, we can reach the depths of the Holy Land of the Moonwatch sect. After hearing this, Su Yu couldn't help but ask, "Since it is the Holy Land of the Moonwatch sect, do you think it will be so easy to cross it? Could it be that your ancestor missed some important information?" In response, the brother and sister said, "We have also thought about your speculation. Logically speaking, the Holy Land must be guarded by the Moonwatch sect with all its strength. How could it be so easy to cross it? But that ancestor went there just like that." After hearing this, Su Yu's eyes flashed slightly, and he asked, "How was the ancestor after he came back? Did he do anything unusual?" "Everything was normal, and he passed away 100 years later." The brother and sister looked at each other, secretly amazed at Su Yu's cautiousness. "Is that so?" Su Yu still felt a little incredulous. However, he could only try according to this route. Su Yu returned the map, but his eyes suddenly swept out of the villa, and his whole body flew out like a residual shadow. Standing over the villa, Su Yu grabbed a handful of air, and a faint breath of wizard power circled in his palm. The Yongye brother and sister rushed over and asked in surprise, "Brother Su, was there someone outside just now?" Su Yu nodded. "Yes, someone has been secretly watching me. Since I came to the Empire of Darkness, he has been around, sometimes visible and sometimes invisible." Staring at the wizard power in his palm, Su Yu was even more surprised. This person was actually a wizard? This little episode made Su Yu and the others not want to stay, and they left that night. Outside Yongzhen City, a large group of wizards gathered. The leader was a 16-year-old girl in a snow-white dress, who was as beautiful as a fairy. Next to her was a tall, indifferent woman. "Saint Lady, judging from the fighting breath here, it was indeed left by Su Yu." The tall woman was Kalin, who analyzed, "According to the information I received, he will escort Yongye Chushue of the Empire of Darkness to the Lost Nation. If I am not mistaken, he is already in the Lost Nation." After such a long time, they were finally completely sure that the mysterious strong man with the head of a dragon and the body of a human was indeed Su Yu. Everything was as Kalin had said. In this world, Su Yu was the only one who possessed such a shocking scheming ability. Hearing this, the sweet and innocent girl pouted with some regret. "It really is him. I should have trusted Sister Kalin and caught him in the Shuaman building. Now we have to look for him in the Lost Nation, which is 10 times larger than the ancient god realm. There are many dangerous places that even the Moonwatch sect does not dare to set foot in." Kalin said, "It's useless to regret it. Let's return to the Lost Nation as soon as possible, mobilize the tribes around, and pay attention to his movements." The Saint Lady said dejectedly, "This is the only way. I only hope that he does not break into the 3 forbidden areas of the Lost Nation, otherwise we will all be finished." Deep in the mysterious crystal mountains, inside the huge stone gate, a trembling wave suddenly came out. For a moment the long mountain range collapsed, and the fire that had been hidden underground for thousands of years rose, burning the mysterious crystal mountains into a giant flame dragon. The tens of thousands of blood talismans on the stone gate fell one by one and turned into dust. The suppression of the tens of thousands of talismans has finally loosened. In another 8 years, the seal of the stone gate will be broken. The sweet voice of a woman floated out from inside the stone gate. The World Annihilation Dragon looked expectant. "Heh heh heh, the world that I haven't seen for a long time, wait for the destruction of my master." This wave spread throughout the entire ancient god realm. Yongye Zhiyang, Nitian Gyun, Bing Huatsangxing, and Tai Qin Yunluan, the 4 emperors of the Empire of Darkness, suddenly felt the wave sweep past at this moment, and their faces changed. In horror, they gathered in the mysterious crystal mountains, their faces extremely grave. In the southern region of the Empire of Darkness, on a mountain of corpses, a mermaid king in a golden yellow robe said in horror, "That woman and that dragon are about to come out. I must speed up, otherwise I will definitely die." Chapter 1379. In the Lost Nation, in a precipitous mountain covered by mist. Sword-seeking universe. Yongye Wuheng's palm split into tens of thousands of sword lights, cutting a level 5 strange-looking beast in front of him into countless pieces. Whoosh! Yongye Wuheng put away his long sword. His temperament was cold, and he was calmer than before, but also more capable. Roar! At the same time, there was a roar of pain, and a huge behemoth collapsed. The fierce aura was that of a level 4. On the body of the behemoth, a young man stood with his hands behind his back, and behind him floated the shadows of 3,000 gods. Brother Su, your progress is amazing. In just 2 years, you have comprehended more than 3,000 divine paths. Yongye Wuheng was amazed. It had been 2 years since they entered the Lost Nation. Unlike the ancient god realm, where they could easily fly, the environment of the Lost Nation was dangerous, and there were dangers everywhere. Flying in the air was very dangerous, so they could only travel on foot. They had been gone for 2 years. They had experienced this kind of encounter no less than 100 times. Su Yu jumped down, and his temperament became more and more peaceful. Brother Wuheng, you have also made great progress. When you first encountered a level 5 peak beast, you had to go all out and was exhausted to barely win. Now you can easily kill it in 3 moves. Your strength has grown so much that it is enviable. Hearing this, Yongye Wuheng's eyes reignited with confidence. Yes, more than 2 years of life and death experiences had stimulated his hidden potential. Although his cultivation had not made much progress, his strength had increased day by day. If he continued to cultivate, he would definitely be able to catch up with Nitian Hanxing and avenge himself. It was the right decision to come to the Lost Nation. Don't be proud. You have to follow Brother Su Yu's example. He has made much more progress than you, Yongye Chushua said mischievously. Yongye Wuheng, who was used to his sister's kindness, sighed and said, Brother Su is a genius, and it will be difficult for me to catch up with him in this life. He knew very well that Su Yu's killing of this level 4 deity with 3,000 divine paths was just a small test of his abilities. Even if Nitian Hanxing came in person, he would still be able to fight, unlike before, when he had no way to fight back. Moreover, he deeply understood that Su Yu's progress in the past 2 years was far beyond the divine path. He had also made rapid progress in other aspects. For example, the heaven-trampling 3 styles. He had already cultivated the first style, heaven-trampling 3 steps to perfection, but he had never used it before. If it was used, its might would be unimaginable. Of course. Thanks to Brother Su Yu, you were able to comprehend the heaven-stomping 3 strokes at the lower class level, Yongye Chushua said. In the past 2 years, under Su Yu's guidance, Yongye Wuheng had also gained unprecedented benefits in the comprehension of the heaven-stomping 3 strokes. From a superficial understanding, he had now reached the lower realm. I'm ashamed. Brother Su has personally guided me, but I'm not talented enough to make any progress, Yongye Wuheng said helplessly. In the eyes of outsiders, his progress in 2 years was so great that it was enough to amaze them. Even the arrogant and Tian Guxing would feel afraid. However, compared to Su Yu, he paled in comparison, and he felt a sense of defeat. Su Yu laughed. I was able to comprehend it because of a special opportunity. Chushua, don't underestimate your brother's potential. He just lacks an opportunity. In terms of comprehension, Su Yu was no match for Yongye Wuheng. He had the cheating method of speeding up time by 1,000 times. The time it took for him to comprehend the lower class was far longer than 2 years. Yongye Wuheng, on the other hand, had reached the lower class level in 2 years. Su Yu was ashamed of his inferiority. Yongye Chushua said to Yongye Wuheng, Brother, did you hear that? Brother Su Yu is praising you. Why do I not feel happy at all when you say that? Yongye Wuheng rolled his eyes. This sister of his was hopeless. She longed for Su Yu to the core. Su Yu smiled gently and took out the map. According to the route marked, we are about to reach the most dangerous place, the 10,000 Demons Ridge. I hope you are prepared for this road to be blocked. The expressions of the Yongye siblings gradually became solemn. Everything was as Su Yu had guessed at first. Could the holy land of the Moonwatch sect be passed so easily? They encountered countless level 5 strange beasts along the way. There were hundreds of level 4 strange beasts, and they encountered one almost every 3 to 5 days. With such a frequent path of strange beasts, If Yongye Chushue had been the only one to lead the way, she would have died without a burial place. If there were a few more attacks from level 5 strange beasts, she would have died here. Fortunately, Su Yu had hidden his strength, so they had survived until now. However, they had only survived until now. The 10,000 Demons Ridge was the only dangerous place marked by the Yongye ancestor. So, if the road was far more dangerous than expected, what would the 10,000 Demons Ridge be like? Half a month later, in the 10,000 Demons Ridge, the three of them stopped in their tracks and stared at the strange, endless sky in front of them. The sky here was riddled with void holes, numbering in the billions. Each void hole was like a living creature, expanding and contracting as it breathed. Looking from afar, it seemed that the sky here had become a huge hornet's nest, densely covering hundreds of millions of miles. It was extremely uncomfortable. Even without deliberately exploring, Su Yu could feel the existence of powerful creatures in the void. The weakest was at the prospective deity level, and the strongest, it was impossible to estimate. It was at least comparable to the Emperor of the Empire, a level 2 deity. Yongye Wuheng's eyes flashed with shock. This is completely inconsistent with the description of the ancestor. Yongye Chushue's face was also pale. The 10,000 Demons Ridge mentioned by the ancestor was only guarded by thousands of powerful prospective deities, and the strongest was only a level 6 deity. However, the scene in front of them was very different from the description. There were more than thousands of void holes here, there were hundreds of millions of them, there were countless level 6 deities in them, and there was even a breath in the depths that made them tremble and feel uneasy. Su Yu's eyes narrowed deeply. He grabbed a stone, wrapped it with his divine power, and threw it into the space ahead. Tick-tock! The stone hit the space ahead. Even if Su Yu did not deliberately do it, the void was too densely packed, and it was difficult not to throw one of them. The stone fell into a void, and as if it had awakened something, a fierce roar came from the void. Suddenly, a ferocious dog-sized creature with a hideous face, 4 legs, and 3 eyes emerged from the void. A pair of sharp fangs reflected a cold light in the sun, and blood-red saliva flowed from the corners of its mouth. Its sharp claws rubbed against the void, creating bursts of sparks, and a very disturbing roar came from its throat. As if it had sensed something, there was movement in the nearby void. One by one, evil creatures of different sizes and appearances came out of the void. When they discovered the presence of Su Yu and the others, their eyes were filled with bloodthirsty greed, and their 2 claws scratched the ground. This was a precursor to an attack. Su Yu roughly counted and found that there were more than 300 evil creatures. Among them, there were more than 30 level 6 deities, and 5 level 5 deities. As for the prospective deities, there were countless. And these were the ones who had appeared. More and more holes behind them were disturbed, and in the form of waves, they spread wildly to the deepest depths. In the blink of an eye, millions of holes were disturbed. Su Yu took a deep breath and looked at the brother and sister. Do you still want to try to cross the void? Yongye Chushue's face was pale. It doesn't seem to be a matter of whether we want to or not, but whether we can leave this place alive. Yongye Wuheng's face was grave. The 300 strange beasts that appeared were enough for them to deal with for a while, let alone the beasts that came out one after another. Su Yu nodded. Then let's leave first. Swish. He raised his hand and threw out a delicate and exquisite peacock, which danced in the air and burst out a series of divine lights. With countless muffled sounds, dozens of strange beasts were killed by the shock. The peacock plume, which had been used many times, finally broke and turned into dust. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Su Yu and the other 2 immediately retreated. They retreated for thousands of miles until they could no longer see the void. Only then did the strange beasts stop chasing them. The 3 of them stood on the boulder, and their faces did not look good. A little movement can cause all the holes to resonate. This way is not going to work. Yongye Wuheng's face was solemn. A stone could cause such a disturbance. If the three of them entered it and accidentally touched a hole, what would the consequences be? Moreover, the whole space was full of holes, and they could not fly over even if they wanted to. Even Su Yu's yin-yang wings of supreme pole could not cross it by force. Yongye Chushue pretended to be calm. After 2 years, this was the result. How could she feel good about it? It seems that we can only take a detour, Su Yu said at this time. Hearing this, Yongye Chushue could not help but be moved. Are you willing to take the risk of taking a detour? Even Yongye Wuheng was impressed. Brother Su, according to the original agreement, this is the safest way. There is no need for you to take the risk with us, Su Yu said calmly. Our agreement should be to escort Chushue to the Holy Land, right? As for this road being blocked, it is not within the scope of the task. As he spoke, Su Yu's eyes swept around. Let's stick to this area and take a detour. We will get around it eventually. The brother and sister were moved. How dangerous it was to change the route at will in the Lost Nation. They did not encounter any tribes of the Moonwatch sect along the way. They relied on the map left by their ancestors to avoid these dangerous people. Rashly opening up a new route was extremely dangerous and not to be underestimated. Sister, if I entrust you to him, I will have nothing to worry about anymore, Yongye Wuheng sighed softly. Yongye Chushue blushed, but she said softly, that is only if he likes me. The three of them left. Soon after, 2 people with sorcery energy emerged from the darkness. Father, these 3 creatures are too bold, aren't they? Are they planning to break into the forbidden land of 10,000 demons? A short deity who looked like a black fish said. Chapter 1380. 10 days later, 3 figures landed beside a village. In the village, there were countless creatures of different kinds walking around. The only thing they had in common was that they exuded a faint gray aura. They were all followers of the Moonwatch sect. The arrival of the 3 figures was silent and did not attract their attention. It's still a village of the Moonwatch sect. Yongye Wuheng's heart sank and his face darkened. Yongye Chushue couldn't help but feel a little frustrated. It's already the 10th day. What the hell is going on here? Brother Su Yu has used the yin-yang wings of Supreme Pole 10 times in a row. According to common sense, we should have crossed 1 billion miles of mountains and rivers by now. Why is it that we have only traveled 10 million miles? Su Yu's face was a little pale, and there was a hint of exhaustion on his face. The space of the hole was only 100 million square miles, but in the past 10 days, he had used the yin-yang wings of Supreme Pole more than 10 times. The result was that he had not moved forward at all. The village in front of them was discovered 7 days ago. During these 7 days, no matter whether they walked or flew, or even used the yin-yang wings of Supreme Pole, they could not go too far from the village. Su Yu thought for a long time, staring at the vaguely visible whole space, and said in a deep voice, I think I know why your ancestors chose such a dangerous place like the whole space instead of taking a detour. The Yongye siblings also knew. Because there was only one way. The existence of that hole has affected a large area nearby. It has formed an incomparably large spatial barrier. We can't go around it. No matter how they tried, they could not go around the village in front of them. Su Yu thought for a long time, stared at the village, and said slowly, I think I should go to that village and explore it. No. Yongye Wuheng and Yongye Chushue were both shocked. Yongye Wuheng said, Brother Su, you may not know this, but the followers of the Moonwatch sect are divided into tribes. Each tribe has a statue of their wizard ancestor, and each statue contains a trace of pure wizard ancestor's power, which is used to defend the tribe. Su Yu looked at the village. In the center of the village, there was a statue made of special materials. It was the tallest building in the village. This statue should not be a threat to me. At most, it can kill a level 5 deity. If I am careful, I should be fine. Absolutely not. This time, Yongye Chushue added, don't underestimate the statue. In the war between the ancient god realm and the Moonwatch sect, It was this carelessness that led to the death of many contemporary masters. Countless level 3 masters were killed, and even the death of the leader of the royal family. Suyu was surprised. Was the statue of a deity that powerful? The leaders of the royal family were all top-notch level 2 gods, right? Would they also fall because of this? Yongye Chushue explained, every qualified tribe will be rewarded by the Moonwatch sect with a statue made of special materials. The power of a god statue might not be very strong, but the strange thing was that the god statue of this tribe could borrow power from the god statues of other tribes. At most, it could borrow one god statue. How powerful do you think a 10,000% fusion would be? Suyu was slightly shocked. In other words, all the deity statues in the Lost Nation could borrow power from each other and unleash amazing power for a short period of time? If this was the case, these statues were really dangerous. Even the heaven-defying Empire's army has to rely on the absolute power of more than 10,000 people to attack a tribe. They are afraid of the power of the statue. After hearing this, Suyu naturally did not dare to be careless, but he still said, "Well, then I will go in another way." After saying that, Yongye Chushue and Yongye Chushue were stunned. Sorcery energy gushed out of Suyu's body. At first glance, they thought that Suyu was a wizard. Brother Suyu. Yongye Wuheng was shocked, and he could not believe his eyes. He had been in the Empire for many years, and this was the first time he had heard that the people of the ancient god realm could cultivate sorcery energy. Suyu did not explain but said, "Wait patiently, don't be discovered, I will go to find out more information." After saying that, he stepped out of the deep forest and went straight to the tribe. His arrival immediately attracted the attention of the guards at the entrance of the village. 2 dark followers of the Moonwatch sect immediately found Suyu and sounded the alarm. The sound of the alarm alerted many experts in the village, including an old man of level 5 realm. He was holding an oddly shaped cane in his hand, and he looked quite dignified. The followers of the Moonwatch sect around him were also very respectful to him. He must be the leader of the tribe. "Who are you?" The other party did not let his guard down just because Suyu was a wizard. The people of the ancient god realm had to face each other in life and death. Of course, it was impossible for everyone in the wizard tribe to live in harmony. "I am from a distant tribe, the Guyao tribe. I was passing by your tribe, and I took the liberty to disturb you." The Lost Nation was vast and had thousands of tribes. It was not surprising that they did not know about the Guyao tribe. "So, you are a guest from a distant tribe." The tribe leader looked at Suyu carefully and noticed that the sorcery energy he exuded was not strong. He did not even have the strength of a prospective deity, so his guard was much lower. "I passed by this place recently, but I could not get out. I have no choice but to come and ask for advice," Suyu said. Hearing that, the crowd dispelled their doubts. There were many creatures like Suyu who walked nearby and could not get out. The tribe leader said, "I see. Come with me, and I will tell you as we walk." To avoid suspicion, Suyu followed him into the heavily guarded tribe and listened to the tribe leader's explanation. "This is all caused by the Forbidden Land of 10,000 demons. The space of the Forbidden Land has an impact on the mountains and rivers within 1 billion square miles. Without a special way you cannot get out." "Excuse me, leader, how can I leave?" Suyu asked. The tribe leader's smiling face suddenly turned gloomy after Suyu entered the tribe. He said coldly, "Do you think I will tell an enemy of the god realm?" Suyu looked calm. He glanced at the gate of the tribe behind him, which was gradually closing. He did not panic and said lightly, "You saw through it." "It's not that I saw through it, but you were exposed a long time ago." The tribe leader hit the ground with his walking stick. 2 fish-headed wizards walked out of the crowd and pointed at Suyu. "It's them. 10 days ago, they tried to cross the forbidden land of 10,000 demons but failed." The tribe leader sneered. "The Diu tribe has been waiting for you for a long time. When we found out that someone failed to cross the forbidden land of 10,000 demons, they would definitely choose to take a detour. Sooner or later, they would be trapped in this space and unable to leave. However, I did not expect you to be so bold as to come here disguised as a wizard. The tribe leader's eyes turned cold, and a wave of wizard incantations suddenly radiated from his mouth towards Suyu. Suyu's face was calm as he took out a piece of soul-stabilizing wood. The soul-stabilizing wood emitted a faint, warm aura. When the wave encountered the aura, it naturally dissolved. 80-year-old soul-stabilizing wood. The tribe leader was slightly surprised. No wonder you could go deep into the lost nation. It turns out that you have this thing with you. It's a pity that you ran into the Diu tribe. The attack failed, and the tribe leader swung the walking stick in his hand at Suyu. Even though the wizard incantation waves had lost their effect, a level 5 being could cause fatal damage to a mortal fairy with a casual blow. Suyu did not move an inch. Dragon scales as dark as ink emerged on the surface of his body. He lifted his hand in the air and blocked the blow of the walking stick. After his continuous attacks were easily neutralized, the tribe leader finally became fearful. He pulled back his walking stick and asked coldly, "Who are you?" "A passerby," Suyu said calmly. "I just want to know how to leave this place." "Not a spy from the heaven-defying empire?" The tribe leader was puzzled. Suyu frowned slightly. "The heaven-defying empire's army is marching too fast. Are they approaching this place soon?" Not receiving an affirmative answer from Suyu, the tribe leader's face turned sullen. "Whether you are from the heaven-defying empire or not, the Diu tribe is the most loyal tribe guarding the Moonwatch sect. Don't even think about leaving." Suyu said calmly, "Do you really think it would be difficult for me to kill you all?" The tribe leader said, "Humph. Do you think my walking stick is as simple as a knock?" As soon as he finished speaking, a gray mark appeared in the palm of Suyu's hand that held the walking stick. At the same time, the giant statue in the center of the tribe suddenly erupted with a tyrannical aura comparable to that of a level 3. At this moment, the statue seemed to have come to life, and its eyes were filled with the same mark on Suyu's palm. As if sensing that Suyu had been marked, the statue turned its head to look at Suyu, its eyes brewing a fatal attack close to that of a level 3 deity. "We, the Diu tribe, began preparing 10 days ago just to wait for you. I thought that the power borrowed from the statue would be useless, but now it seems that being careful is not a big mistake," the tribe leader said proudly. "If you move casually again, you will be killed immediately." Suyu also felt that he was being watched. If he moved rashly, he might indeed be killed. However, Suyu's face was calm and he did not panic. Instead, he looked at the tribe leader and said calmly, "Whatever deal you want to make, just say it. Getting the way to leave through a deal is within my bottom line." The tribe leader was taken aback, and the villagers of several important tribes around him also looked surprised. "What are you talking about? The Diu tribe will never make a deal with the enemy of the ancient god realm." The tribe leader's eyes were cunning, and he pretended to be angry. Suyu said calmly, "Is that so? If you really want to kill me, why are you wasting time? You can just mobilize the statue to kill me." As he spoke, Suyu looked around and finally fixed his eyes on a huge hut in the tribe. It was as if he could see through everything inside the hut. "Besides, your tribe seems to have encountered quite a bit of trouble. There are many injured, and they are all suffering from strange wizard curses. Your people are trying their best to rescue them." Hearing that, everyone was shocked and looked at each other, wondering who had leaked the news. The tribe leader was furious. "Who told you that? Tell me." "The most important thing now is the deal, isn't it?" Suyu said with a faint smile. The tribe leader's expression changed. After a long while, his eyes finally calmed down. He tapped the ground with his cane, and the power of the wizard ancestor statue receded like a tide. He said in a low voice, "As you know, I do want to make a deal with you, an outsider. If you can help us, I can help you leave this space." Chapter 1381. The tribe leader looked at the thatched cottage and said with a serious face, "The witchcraft curse on the people in the thatched cottage is the green snake curse unique to the green snake tribe. I hope you can help us break into the green snake tribe and take back the cultivation method of the green snake curse. Only with the cultivation method of the witchcraft curse can we find a way to break the curse." Suyu raised 2 fingers. "I have 2 questions. First, why didn't you go by yourselves? Why did you send me, an outsider? Second, why did you have a conflict with each other?" The tribe leader sighed, his old face full of helplessness and resentment. "As you can see, every tribe has its own statue of the wizard ancestor. The statue is very sensitive to the approach of outsiders. If we get close, we will be immediately detected before we reach the green snake tribe. As for the conflict, it's hard to talk about it. The most beautiful flower of our tribe was snatched away by the prince of the green snake tribe on her way to get married. The people of our tribe were so angry that they tried to reason with us, but they were injured. Now we don't expect to find the most beautiful flower of our tribe, but to find a way to break the green snake curse." After listening, Suyu said, "Let me sum it up. Your woman was snatched away, and you fell into a trap. You are so useless that you have to rely on me, an outsider, to help you." The tribe leader opened his mouth, trying to defend himself. But that was the truth. "Finally, let me guess. Among the people who were cursed by the green snake curse, there must be someone very important in your tribe." The tribe leader looked at Suyu with shame. "Although the enemies of the ancient god realm are annoying, they are smart. My son is among the injured." "Okay, I understand your situation. Can you tell me how we can leave this place?" The tribe leader pointed to the statue beside him. "It's very simple. Borrow the power of 10,000 statues to break the influence of the forbidden land on this space, and send you hundreds of millions of miles away." As he spoke, the tribe leader said sternly, "Although I don't know why you are going to the holy land of the Moonwatch sect, I advise you to be careful. Wizards like me, who are willing to trade with the enemies of the ancient god realm, are the minority. Most of them only have one thought when they see you: kill. Haha, you don't have to worry about that. Just tell me the details of the Green Snake tribe and this trip." The tribe leader smiled. "Straightforward." As he spoke, he took out several items. "This is the internal map of the Green Snake tribe. The place you are heading to is the straw hut of the Green Snake tribe's chief. The cultivation method of the Green Snake curse is sealed inside. This is a statue of a god that we've specially refined. If we throw it out in times of crisis, it's enough to withstand a curse attack from a level 3 sorcerer." After Suyu got all the items, he immediately left the tribe and said, "I hope you will keep your word." In the dense forest, Suyu met up with the Yongye siblings. After learning what had happened, the 2 of them broke out in cold sweat for Suyu. Fortunately, Brother Su is quick-witted and found out their weakness. Otherwise, what awaits you might not be a transaction, but rather subduing you and forcing you to work for them. Suyu said, "That's not important anymore. I'm going to the Green Snake tribe. It's inconvenient to move with so many people. If you trust me, you can rest for a while in the space of the Buddha pearl." Opening up the space of a Buddhist bead, the siblings looked at each other and entered it with great trust. Without any worries, Suyu headed for the Green Snake tribe according to the map. Speaking of which, it was strange. According to the route on the map, the journey was smooth and he was not transported back by the space. 5 days later, among the messy mountain rocks, Suyu concealed his scent and hid his figure. He stood in front of a village built against a mountain. From afar, it could be seen that most of the villagers in the village had the bodies of green snakes. They had snake-like faces and dim yellow eyes. They were of the same race. In terms of overall strength, they were slightly stronger than the Diu tribe. In addition, the messy mountain rocks contained special energy that was extremely suitable for the Green Snake tribe to cast their curse. Therefore, the Diu tribe was no match for them. However, to Suyu, as long as he didn't expose himself, he had no dignity to speak of. With a few vigorous strides, Suyu leaped onto roofs and vaulted over the walls and entered the village. Following the map, Suyu headed straight for the cave of the Green Snake Tribe chief. The cave was spacious, cool and moist, and there were countless caves of varying sizes. Following the map, Suyu headed straight for the deepest cave to steal the curse technique. However, when he passed by a sizable cave, a soft cry was heard. Suyu turned his head and saw a creature in the shape of a fish standing at the door. The creature was staring at Suyu in surprise. Suyu was taken aback. His divine path had loosened. Had he been seen? Upon closer inspection, he found that he was still invisible. Just as Suyu was feeling suspicious, the creature stared at Suyu and said, Were you sent by the tribe to rescue me? Could he really see her? Suyu was slightly taken aback. In a flash, he entered the cave and said, I am the bride of the Diu tribe who was taken away. Looking at the plump woman with the pitch-black fish head, Suyu blinked. The flower of the tribe. Damn it, wasn't the Diu tribe a little too hardcore? Alright, Suyu forced himself to accept the fact that the woman in front of him was the first beauty of the Diu tribe. He said, Stay here, I'll take you away later. Wait, are you going to steal the green snake curse? I can help you. The first beauty said, The green snake tribe chief has taken precautions and guarded the green snake curse closely. Without special methods, you can't take it away. Taken precautions? That was within Suyu's expectations. Alright, but be careful, Suyu said as he led her into the deepest part of the cave. The green snake tribe chief was not there, leaving only an empty cave. There was a faint stench of blood in the air, as well as residual chilly sorcery energy. It was very similar to the sorcery curse cast on the wounded of the Diu tribe. Sweeping his gaze across the surroundings, Suyu activated his transparent eye and saw through everything in the cave. A moment later, he walked up to a seemingly smooth stone wall, raised his fist, and smashed it violently. A hidden pit that could only accommodate one person appeared. A statue that looked exactly the same as the one outside was in it. The difference was that the size was the same as that of a normal person, and the material was very special. There was a hint of the chilly aura unique to the people of the Green Snake tribe. Suyu remembered that the curse techniques practiced by the wizard tribe were quite different from those practiced in the ancient god realm. They needed to comprehend the curse techniques from the statue of the wizard ancestor. This statue that had the aura of the Green Snake tribe was most likely what Suyu was looking for. The first beauty behind him opened her mouth wide. She had not even given any guidance, but Suyu had easily found the place where the statue was hidden. It was amazing! After discovering the statue, Suyu did not retrieve it immediately. Instead, he narrowed his eyes and studied it. After thinking for a moment, he took out a bead of golden flames forbidden wood and shot it at the statue. Creak! As a result, a green ripple shot out from the surface of the statue, bouncing the bead back. A sizable dent was left on the surface of the bead. Suyu was slightly surprised. Even the sturdiness of the golden flames forbidden wood had a dent on it. Without a level 4 realm body, touching this object was absolutely courting death. As Suyu pondered how to retrieve it, the first beauty said, This is the trick set up by the Green Snake tribe chief. It's very powerful, but we can use the wizard spell of the Diu tribe, the water calming spell, to break the curse technique left on it. Suyu rolled his eyes. Then why don't you hurry up? I'm not here for a vacation, so I'm not listening to your explanation. Oh. The first beauty immediately cast the wizard spell. A powerful wave of ripples collided with the green ripples on the surface of the statue, and they both melted away. Hurry up, or the curse technique will surge out again very soon. Suyu's eyes flashed. Taking advantage of the moment when the curse technique was broken, he took out the statue. Got it, let's go quickly. Your curse technique is likely to alarm the Green Snake tribe chief. Suyu was still invisible. He grabbed the first beauty and quickly left the cave, heading straight for the outside of the village. Bang! However, just as they were about to pass through the square, the tribal god statue in the square attacked without warning. A powerful spell wave that was very close to level 3 swept towards Suyu, who was invisible. The attack was sudden, fierce, and urgent, as if it had long expected that Suyu would pass by this place. The attack was carefully calculated. Suyu was caught off guard and was shot. With a muffled grunt, he was sent flying from his invisible state with the statue in his arms. Swish, swish, swish. At the same time, more than a dozen people of the Green Snake tribe, who had been hiding in the dark, flashed out from the shadows. The leader was a powerful level 5 peak, and the person next to him was also a powerful level 5 peak. What was even more unbelievable to Suyu was that the first beauty had unknowingly embraced the young Green Snake disciple with a smile, staring at Suyu with a sneer. "You!" Suyu could not understand. The first beauty said coldly, "You didn't expect this, did you? You must be wondering why you were ambushed." "That's right, it was me." Suyu could not believe it. With his mouth full of blood, he said, "Why did you do this? You are a member of the Diyu tribe. I am here to save the people of the Diyu tribe, but more importantly, I am here to save you." The first beauty said in disgust, "Who needs you to save me? The prince of the Green Snake tribe and I were originally in love. It was the tribe that wanted to separate us, forcing me to marry into the White Fox tribe in exchange for a treasure of the White Fox tribe. If the prince had not saved me, I would have been reduced to a member of the White Fox tribe." Knowing the whole story, Suyu secretly cursed, "What a cunning old fox to have tricked me!" The first beauty said coldly, "The Green Snake tribe had long anticipated that you might send people to infiltrate this place to steal the Green Snake spell, so they made arrangements. The Green Snake spell statue that you obtained is fake." Suyu looked down. Indeed, there was an almost undetectable crack in the middle of the statue. The center was hollow and could be crushed with a pinch. Suyu was filled with hatred and he said furiously, "What about the real statue? Where are you hiding it?" "Haha, I won't tell you." The first beauty laughed proudly, her eyes full of hatred. Chapter 1382. The beauty chuckled. "Fine, I'll be merciful and let you die a knowing death. I was born with magical powers and can see through the illusion of time. It's only natural that your invisibility technique was seen through by me. As for how to inform them to set up the ambush, that's even easier. There was a communication spell hidden in the spell I cast. Now, can you die knowing?" Suyu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and smiled mysteriously. "I've bought enough time. Thank you for your enthusiastic and patient answers." The leader of the Green Snake tribe narrowed his eyes and activated the statue. The statue shot out a wave of murderous intent towards Suyu again. Suyu was blown into pieces without any resistance. Strangely, he was really in pieces. There was no blood, no flesh, and no trace of his soul. Everyone's eyes were filled with astonishment. What's going on?" The beauty was dumbfounded. The prince was shocked too. "He was killed, how, of course." The tribe leader looked annoyed. "We've all been deceived. This is a divine path of the ancient god realm, the golden cicada shedding technique. From beginning to end, what Huar found was only his skin. The real body is still in the depths of the cave." The beauty understood and trembled with anger. "I've been used all this time?" The leader of the Green Snake tribe glared at her. "Of course. I'm afraid he's already guessed that you're one of us. Go back quickly. I hope he doesn't find the hiding place of the real statue." In the depths of the cave, a young man was standing in the empty pit, stroking his chin as he pondered. "The most dangerous place is also the safest place. If it were me, I would also hide the statue in the deepest part of this groove. If someone stole the outer layer of the fake statue, they would definitely think that the real statue is no longer flashing. Very few people would go deeper to investigate. Unfortunately, they met me." Suyu smiled. Sorcery energy gushed out of his body and imitated the beauty's water-freezing spell, causing the defensive spell in the pit to pause for a moment. Suyu seized the opportunity and punched deeper into the pit. Sure enough, there was a soft click. There was a hole hidden in the depths of the pit. Inside, there was a statue shimmering with green light and filled with a strong scent of curse technique. That's him. Suyu sucked the statue out from the air and quickly stored it in his space ring. He then concealed his aura and figure before leaping out of the stone cave's window soundlessly. He had comprehended the 3,000 divine daos, and the cicada shedding carapace was only one of them. As for how he could see through the beauty's malicious intentions, Suyu used his second divine path, the mind's eye. He could see through the thoughts of living creatures at that time. Only with the help of 2 kinds of divine daos could there be a wonderful scene. When Suyu bypassed the statue and left the village, the chief of the Green Snake tribe and the others arrived. Looking at the broken groove and the statue that had disappeared, everyone's mood was extremely gloomy. The leader of the Green Snake tribe had a terrifyingly gloomy expression as he clenched his fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard. What a Diu tribe! How dare they collude with the enemies of the divine realm? I'm going to report them to the holy cult. They did not realize that the fake statue on the square had also disappeared without a trace. They had no idea who had taken it away. Several days later, Suyu, who had risked his life to retrieve the statue, returned to the Diu tribe. The chief of the tribe and many of the villagers raised their heads in anticipation. They came out of the tribe in surprise. Did you succeed? The chief's eyes were filled with surprise. Suyu retrieved the statue without saying a word. Everyone looked at it and carefully sensed the scent of the Green Snake tribe on it. They couldn't help but be overjoyed. The chief of the tribe examined it again and again, his face full of smiles. Yes, this is the statue. Little brother, you were able to retrieve the statue from the Green Snake tribe so easily in just 10 days. We have a whole new level of respect for you. The Diu tribe will remember your kindness for the rest of our lives. As he spoke, he reached out to retrieve the statue. With a twist of his wrist, Suyu kept the statue and looked at him placidly. The chief of the tribe came to a sudden realization. I understand. Then I should fulfill my promise and use the power of the statue to send you away from this place. But his face revealed a hint of awkwardness. But I can't do that now. Are you going back on your word? Suyu asked coldly. The chief of the tribe said calmly, No, a tribe not far away has been attacked by the army of the heaven-defying empire. The power of the statue of the Diu tribe has been borrowed to defend against the enemy, so we can't use the power of the statue now. Suyu was surprised. The heaven-defying empire had really attacked nearby. Looking at the chief of the tribe, Suyu said, Before I use the power of the statue, I won't hand it over to you. This is a deal, I hope you understand. The chief of the tribe sighed. I understand. During this period you can rest in the tribe. When the power of the statue of the Diu tribe can be retrieved, we'll start the exchange. All right. Suyu was not worried about being attacked and settled in the tribe safely. The tribe gave him the best treatment and arranged a top-notch secret chamber for him. Inside the secret chamber, Suyu's eyes shone with contemplation. After all, the tribe is a boorish man who can't see the bigger picture. This tribe is about to be destroyed. With a sigh, Suyu closed his eyes and started training. All of a sudden, his eyebrows twitched slightly, and he opened his eyes, revealing a faint look of joy. A Buddha bead on his wrist was emitting a dazzling purple light. Finally awake, Suyu opened up the space of the Buddha bead, and a lady in purple, who looked like a fairy, flew out from it. She had a slim figure and wore a white veil on her face, giving off a hazy and mysterious beauty. The most amazing thing was that her eyes were like amethysts, emitting a dreamy purple brilliance from time to time. Being looked at by those eyes, it was as if no secret could be hidden. Congratulations on achieving the upper tier of the divine path. Now you have surpassed the purple-eyed demonic god. Suyu smiled faintly. If he knew this in the underworld, he would be smiling in the underworld. The lady in purple was Bai Wanqing, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Back then, she had helped him resist the fragment of the rules and was seriously injured and in a coma. As a result, she had received unimaginable training from the impact of the rules. Bai Wanqing smiled, her crystal-like eyes gazing at Suyu like limpid autumn waters. A moment later, a look of surprise appeared on her face, and she smiled bitterly. I don't know if I should be happy or sad about your praise. Now I can't see through you in the slightest. Before this, she could easily see through many of Suyu's secrets, including what he was thinking. But at this moment, under her gaze, Suyu did not seem to exist, like a mass of air. This was the first time she had experienced such an undetectable experience, and it was the first time after achieving the upper tier of the divine path. How could she not be depressed? She was certainly improving, but Suyu's improvement was even greater, and she could not detect anything. There were fragments of the rules in Suyu's body, so of course she could not detect them. Suyu comforted her. Tell me, to what extent can you spy on me now? Bai Wanqing's crystal-like eyes lit up. Destiny! Suyu was shocked. You can spy on destiny? Yes. This is what I have gained from the fragment of the rules. Now I can vaguely detect the existence of destiny, such as... She looked at Suyu and could not help but look away in disappointment. She turned her gaze elsewhere, and her eyes gradually became solemn. For example, I can see that there will be a bloody disaster here. She could not see Suyu's destiny, but she could see a disaster that was about to happen here. Sir, since you are not running away, why don't you resolve it? Destiny changes all the time and is never fixed. With your constitution, the source of chaos, you should be able to resolve it easily. Suyu's expression was calm as he shook his head. I can resolve it, but there is no need for me to do so. Whatever happens to the Diu tribe is what they deserve. It is not my fault, so why should I change it? He did not kill the first beauty, and that was what Suyu was thinking. The people of the Diu tribe were not necessarily good people. Bai Wanqing sighed faintly. Her eyes were filled with pity, but she had no intention of disobeying Suyu. I believe that you will need me. I will not return to the space. I will accompany you to get through the current crisis. Suyu nodded, closed his eyes, and trained silently. In his mind, he practiced the top level of the heaven-stomping 3 strokes over and over again, perfecting and integrating them more. Time passed slowly. A month later, Bai Wanqing's soft voice woke Suyu from his training. Slowly opening his eyes, Suyu's spirit doubled, and his exhaustion dissipated. The heaven-stomping 3 strokes was more comprehensive. A strong sense of confidence welled up spontaneously. Bai Wanqing could not help but look sideways, her crystal eyes rippling with extraordinary splendor. She thought to herself, he survived the disaster of the fragment of the rules. To what extent has he metamorphosed now? I am really looking forward to it. The reason why Bai Wanqing woke him up was that the tribe leader had come in person. Haha, the tribe crisis ahead seems to have been resolved. We can use the statue to send you away from here. The tribe leader found that there was a beautiful woman in purple in the secret room. He was slightly surprised, but not surprised. Every deity had a portable space. However, when the woman in purple glanced at him, the tribe leader's heart trembled slightly. He had an illusion that he had been completely seen through, and he could not help but be vigilant. Little brother, who is this? The tribe leader's eyes flickered slightly. Suyu said, Friend, let's go. Get ready to be teleported. I will give you the statue you want. The tribe leader stared at the woman for a while, then turned around and led the way with a strange light in his eyes. Bai Wanqing sighed softly. You have to look at the target if you have ulterior motives. The young master did not save you, and it makes sense. When they arrived at the square, the statue had gathered pure sorcery energy, which was more than 10 times stronger than the last time. Under this powerful sorcery energy, the space around them changed as if something was being pushed away. This power indeed had the ability to break through the influence of space and teleport them away from this place. The tribe leader drew a rune on the ground with his walking stick, which could accommodate 2 people standing in it. Later, as soon as the statue was activated, the power in the statue would shoot towards the rune and teleport them away. Where is the green snake spell? The tribe leader stood in front of the rune. After Suyu took out the statue and handed it to him, he stepped aside and allowed Suyu and Bai Wanqing to stand on the rune. Stand properly, the tribe leader said, tapping the walking stick in his hand on the ground. All of a sudden, the statue rumbled, and the rolling, majestic power shot towards Suyu and Bai Wanqing. Chapter 1383. At that moment, the tribe leader revealed a ferocious expression. Unfortunately, the place I'm sending you to is not where the Holy Land is, but hell. Unexpectedly, Suyu was unfazed. Even when the terrible power struck, Suyu had no intention of leaving the talisman. Instead, he took out the second statue expressionlessly. This statue was green and exuded amazing power. It looked more authentic than the one the tribe leader had obtained. The authentic one you wanted is in my hands. The tribe leader was shocked. He looked at the statue in his hand and noticed the crack. The authentic one in Suyu's hand was about to shatter under the bombardment of the statue's power. Dong. At the critical moment, the tribe leader tapped the ground with his walking stick. The eruption of power immediately retreated into the statue like a tide. His face was filled with anger as he said gloomily, "You tricked me with a fake." Suyu said calmly, "I was just guarding against you. And just as I expected, you planned to kill me." He had always been a vigilant man. How could he trust the tribe of the Moonwatch sect unconditionally? The Diu tribe had hired Suyu, an enemy of the God realm, to steal the green snake spell. What would the consequences be? The Diu tribe would be severely punished by the Moonwatch sect, and the entire tribe would be wiped out. How could the Diu tribe not know about such terrible consequences? What other way was there to get the green snake spell and eliminate future trouble? Kill them. If the Diu tribe could think of it, how could Suyu not? "What do you want?" The tribe leader's eyes flickered. Suyu said calmly, "I should be asking what do you want? Do you want the green snake spell, or do you want our lives? You can only choose one. You can't kill 2 birds with 1 stone." Hearing that, the tribe leader hesitated. If he let Suyu go, the consequences would be unimaginable. But if he didn't, the green snake spell would be destroyed. Who would save his son? At the moment of hesitation, the tribe leader made a decision. He tapped the ground with his walking stick again, and a mass of divine power shot out from the statue. The divine power was no longer destructive, but space power. "Give me the green snake spell." The tribe leader was indignant. Suyu smiled and threw the statue out. The space power was activated at that moment, teleporting Suyu and the others. But at the moment of teleportation, a shockingly sharp sword energy swept in from the sky and headed straight for the statue. It was so formidable that it was actually on par with the shaman energy that was converged by the 10,000 god statues. With a cracking sound, the statue was sliced into pieces by the sword energy. The space where Suyu and the others were at was shaking and on the verge of being destroyed. If the space shook again and formed a space turbulence, it might not be the worst result for them to be swept to a dangerous place. Being directly strangled by the turbulence in the space was the most dangerous. Seeing the sword energy slashing toward him, Suyu's gaze turned cold. Heaven trampling 3 moves. However, the sky and earth darkened, and the whole world seemed to have shifted and changed into another scene. The heavens rumbled, crushing all life. That destructive will shook the heavens and earth. Everyone present seemed to feel the terrifying majesty of the heavens' desire to destroy all living beings. Weak living beings had their souls shattered by this scene. Even the powerful were forced to crawl on the ground. They could only watch helplessly as the heavens inexplicably trampled on them. However, at this moment, a roar that shook the world resounded. A roar that seemed to come from a distant space-time shook the primordial universe. Heaven trampling 3 moves. 1 step descending from the heavens. 2nd step green netherworld descent. 3rd step heaven and earth reversal intoxication. The towering fighting spirit seemed to have crossed time and space, arriving from the distant primordial era. Wherever the fighting spirit passed, the sharp sword energy turned into nothingness and disappeared from the world. The powerful aura that was galloping from even further away was also blocked by this boundless fighting spirit. Boom! The sky was shattered by the explosion. The shocking scene faded away, and the world was restored to its original state. Between heaven and earth, there were still remnants of the primordial force and the terrible fighting spirit. However, 2 figures were missing: Su Yu and Bai Wanqing. They had been teleported away. When the tribe leader came back to his senses, he hurriedly yelled, "Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Be on guard!" He had no time to care about Su Yu, because an even more terrifying existence had arrived. The sword energy in the air had almost destroyed the statue. Poof! However, while his words were still floating in the void, a snake-like curved sword light pierced through his brow. Then a short and dark young man appeared, his whole body filled with a terrible reverse will. His eyes were even more terrifying and cruel than a beast. They were the eyes of a demon. "Kill them all, leave no one alive," he said gloomily. Swish! 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 Behind him, the great army swarmed over with neat footsteps. The people in the tribe were horrified. The great army of the god realm. No, it's impossible. A month ago, they were attacking the faraway Maple Leaf tribe. How could they suddenly appear in the Dew tribe? The young man holding the snake sword licked the blood on the sword, revealing a disdainful look. The people of the mountains are despicable. How would they know that the art of war depends on strategy? The Maple Leaf tribe is only a feint. Their real target is the Dew tribe. Otherwise, how do you think your statue could suddenly borrow power again? That's because we have long given up attacking the Maple Leaf tribe, so they naturally let their guard down. And you probably think that we have been attacking the Maple Leaf tribe for a long time and are still hundreds of millions of miles away? Hearing that, the faces of the people in the tribe changed. They had all been tricked. This was a diversion. Kill them all. With a command, the great army crushed the Deyu tribe like a tidal wave. From strong men to young children, not a single one was left alive. Congratulations, First Prince. You have eradicated another tribe. The day of your attack on the sacred city is just around the corner. The white-faced commander congratulated. The newcomer was none other than Nitian Hanxing. What's there to be happy about after escaping such a great opportunity? Nitian Hanxing's eyes were cold and his face was gloomy. I didn't expect him to be here. In fact, what made him even more gloomy was that after 2 years of not seeing Su Yu's strength had improved so much that he felt a tinge of fear. The heaven-stomping 3 strokes could not be compared to the past. Its power had skyrocketed several times. Just now, even he had to defend with all his might to resist it. Su Yu, you can't escape. Nitian Hanxing's eyes were even colder. With the reverse will, he was more eager to kill Su Yu and snatch the opportunity and Yongye Chushue. If he did not do so, the reverse will would not be appeased. If he felt indignant, his strength would stop here for the rest of his life. Breaking through to level 2 would be an extravagant hope. Therefore, Su Yu had to die. At all costs. Swish. The power of space flickered and pierced through the vast sky. In the space, Su Yu held by Wanqing tightly, his eyes filled with concentration. Nitian Hanxing's blow had, after all, affected the teleportation. The original plan was to bypass the hole and teleport to the depth. But now, the direction of the teleportation had been changed, and they had forcibly passed through the space hole. Even though the power of this teleportation was strong, crushing all the space holes along the way into pieces and killing countless three-eyed strange beasts. However, such a huge spatial fluctuation directly woke up all the spatial holes. Terrifying exotic beasts crawled out one after another amidst roars. They were furious and madly chased after this power. Su Yu's face was as dark as water. Niti and Hanxing had appeared at the wrong time, putting them in the most dangerous situation. Even though this huge teleportation power was enough to teleport them safely out of this area. However, Su Yu did not forget that in this area, there was an existence that made people tremble with unease. Roar. All of a sudden, there was a roar that pierced through the sky, causing all the strange beasts to retreat in fear. It was like a thunderclap. The space teleportation power that enveloped Su Yu and Bai Wanqing shook violently, faintly showing signs of collapse. Su Yu's face changed drastically and he growled, "Hold on." He weaved his hands together, and many divine paths that enhanced space appeared, stabilizing the collapsed teleportation power and continuing to teleport them. Bai Wanqing was slightly surprised. "It's been 2 years, and you've completed 3 new divine paths?" Su Yu nodded. Bai Wanqing felt reassured and said, "He can always give people peace of mind, but our fate doesn't seem very bright." As soon as the thought flashed through her mind, suddenly, a huge space hole appeared in front of them, directly crushing hundreds and thousands of holes in the vicinity. From this hole, a giant palm covered in hideous hair and with sharp claws stretched out, slamming towards them. Boom! Under this power, the teleportation power that enveloped them could not withstand a single blow, and was scattered on the spot. Su Yu and Bai Wanqing fell into the void. Seeing that they were about to be slapped to death, Su Yu grabbed her and shouted, "Big Dipper!" Swish! The two of them immediately changed positions with a nearby space hole, narrowly avoiding the blow. However, before they could escape, a shocking sucking force came from the huge hole. Su Yu and Bai Wanqing were sucked into it in an instant. After being sucked in, the sucking force in the hole disappeared immediately. At a glance, there was another world inside the hole. It was a small cavern world with a circumference of 10 million feet. In front of Su Yu and Bai Wanqing, there was an enormous strange beast lying on the ground. The size of the strange beast's body was comparable to the giant of the bitter sea of the demonic dimension. The incomparably huge blood-red eyes stared coldly at Su Yu, with an indifferent gleam of condescension. "There's an aura on you that I hate." Su Yu's mind was racing, but his face was calm. He couldn't escape. Even if he turned around, he could be killed by this existence 100 times over. Its strength was no less than any of the emperors of the empires. In fact, it might even be a notch stronger. At the same time, Su Yu noticed that there were 10 silver-white chains entwined around the body of this strange beast, fixing it in the space of this square hole. Hearing it speak human language, Su Yu said in a low voice, "We have no intention of offending you. We were accidentally teleported into this place. Please forgive us, Senior." The strange beast was still staring at Su Yu coldly, completely ignoring Bai Wanqing. It seemed to hate Su Yu very much. With a flash of its giant blood-red eyes, it said in a low voice, "So, the descendants of that guy are here." The giant claws swiped gently, and a shocking scene appeared. Su Yu's Buddha beads opened automatically, and so did the reverse scale on his chest. From it, Yongye Wuheng, Yongye Chushua, and Yongye Wuming appeared respectively. The three of them looked around blankly. When they saw the horrible strange beast in front of them, their pupils shrank. They were all frightened by the horrible aura of the behemoth. Chapter 1384. A murderous aura emanated from it. Su Yu's eyes turned and he shouted hurriedly, "Elder, please wait. We don't know how Yongye Chuma offended you, but if you can make up for it, why don't you let us try?" "Make up for it? Ha ha!" The trapped beast suddenly laughed with a contemptuous expression. What do you have to make up for it? Yongye Chuma stole my dragon pearl. Let me ask you, how do you plan to make up for it? Dragon pearl? Su Yu was taken aback. He looked at the beast again to make sure he hadn't misheard it. He said he had been tricked into stealing his dragon pearl. My face must be very ugly now, right? The beast's murderous aura intensified as he mocked himself. Without the dragon pearl, I couldn't defend myself against the poison of the sorcery energy in this place. I couldn't even keep my dragon body. I grew weaker day by day, and even my body has decayed into this state. But I deserve it because I chose to believe the people of the ancient god realm, and he lied to me. The beast heaved a long sigh. The ancestors of the three of them, the monarchs of the ancient god realm, harmed me like this. Give me a reason not to kill you. Seeing the beast's murderous intent, Su Yu said, I think you have misunderstood something. Your excuses won't save you. The beast stared at them, spewing scorching dragon's breath. Su Yu said solemnly, To tell you the truth, we were all deceived by Yongye Chuma. As he spoke, he took out the map. The beast narrowed its eyes, its voice filled with endless hatred. It's his aura. What is this? This is the map drawn by Yongye Chuma himself. He told us that if we follow this path, we can reach the holy land of the Moonwatch sect without any obstructions, Su Yu said. Hearing this, the beast laughed. Unobstructed? What a joke! If I hadn't used the dragon pearl to clear the path, would he have been able to reach me without any obstructions? Without any obstructions, would he have reached the Holy Land? Su Yu narrowed his eyes and said in a low voice, Elder, Yongye Chuma deliberately deceived us and brought us to you. He must have a reason. Please examine us immediately to see if he left anything harmful to you. The strange beast's eyes flashed as it stared at Su Yu. It stretched out its dragon claws and grabbed Yongye Chuma first. After a while, the strange beast pulled out a faint, blood-red thread from its body. It wriggled like a worm. Yongye Chuma looked at it and exclaimed, How could there be such a thing in my body? She was at the third heaven realm, but she had no idea that there was such a thing hidden in her body. This is the dragon curse that the eternal Knight Chuma learned from me. Of course you can't sense it. The strange beast put down Yongye Chuma, crushed the blood-red thread, and sneered. The function of the dragon curse is to monitor everything from the perspective of others. He deceived you to come here and set up the dragon curse on you. He wanted to see if I was dead through you. The strange beast laughed coldly. He had long since calculated that if his descendants came here, they would definitely be captured by me. That way, he could test whether or not I was still alive. Looks like I've disappointed him. Millions of years have passed, but I'm still alive. The hatred in his heart grew stronger. Su Yu suddenly understood. He had always felt that there was something wrong with the route map. How could they reach the center of the Holy Land so easily? It turned out that everything had been planned by the eternal Knight Chuma. He deceived them to come here so that he could see if the strange beast was dead through Yongye Chuchua's eyes. Yongye Chuchua said in shock, Impossible. My ancestor died millions of years ago, and I was only born 20 years ago. How could he cast the dragon curse on me? Hearing this, the strange beast showed a sympathetic look. In his eyes, you descendants are as worthless as ants. He hid everything from you. Senior, what do you mean? Yongye Wuheng was a little displeased. After all, he is my ancestor. Please don't insult him. Ha 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 ha. The strange beast laughed loudly and showed a more sympathetic look. What a stupid and ignorant creature. He obtained my dragon pearl and can live as long as the heavens. He will never die. How could he be dead? What? The Yongye siblings and Yongye Wuming were shocked. Was Yongye Chuma really not dead? He must be busy refining my dragon pearl now. The strange beast laughed coldly. Su Yu thought for a moment and asked, Senior, what kind of ability is needed to refine the dragon pearl? In this world, there is no one who can refine my dragon pearl. The one who can refine it is dead. Yongye Chioma has wasted his efforts to obtain my dragon pearl, the strange beast said. Su Yu's eyes shone. Senior, are you talking about the World Annihilation Emperor? The strange beast's eyes shone and it smiled lightly. You seem to know a lot. Su Yu took a light breath. If that is the case, I think you might be wrong about one thing. There is still a possibility that your dragon pearl could be refined by Yongye Chioma. Impossible, the strange beast said decisively. Su Yu took out a bottle of pure white divine blood. The strange beast's expression changed drastically. With a dragon's breath, the divine blood was swept away. Its eyes were filled with deep shock. This is the blood of the World Annihilation Emperor, Su Yu said in a low voice. Although the World Annihilation Emperor has perished, his descendants remain in this world. If the divine blood in their bloodline is extracted, it might be possible to refine the dragon pearl. Su Yu had already experienced the power of the World Annihilation Emperor's blood. A single drop of it had subdued the remains of ice and fire. The title of the greatest emperor in the world was not undeserved. Where did you get it? The strange beast's breathing quickened, its eyes turning blood-red. Su Yu said, an inconspicuous tribe. But now that I think about it, the mastermind behind that tribe is Yongye Chioma. He finally understood that he had been targeted time and time again. Who was the one who had been secretly monitoring him and extracting the blood of the World Annihilation Emperor's descendants? Yongye Chioma, a living dead who had been hiding in the world. The strange beast's massive body trembled violently in anger, but the silver chains on its body tightened abruptly, causing it to roar in pain. Yongye Chioma. The roar that was so close to them almost shook them to death. The almost infuriated strange beast glanced at them from the corner of its eyes, its murderous intent raging. Go to hell, all of you! Go to hell! Su Yu's face was calm. Elder, if you kill us just like that, will there be anyone else who will come before you pass away? We are your only hope for vengeance. Upon hearing that, the strange beast's giant claw came to an abrupt halt, but its eyes were still filled with rage. With just you guys? Su Yu said placidly, Elder, we are the only ones you can pin your hopes on. Humph. There is a junior out there who is stronger than all of you and is about to break through to level 2 of the deities. His hope is far above all of you, the strange beast said. Su Yu's face was expressionless. His defiance is bordering on insanity. He will not allow any shackles to be placed on him, including promises. You will never keep any promises. I believe you must have sensed that. The strange beast's claw was raised in the air for a long time before it lowered it slowly, staring at Su Yu coldly. After a while, the rage in its eyes gradually subsided. You guys hardly give me hope. I can't estimate the depth of his abilities now, but he is no longer at the level of the Empire's monarch in the past. He is most likely a level 1 deity now. Upon hearing that, Su Yu's heart shook violently. A level 1 deity, the level of the giant of the bitter sea of the demonic dimension? Su Yu felt his scalp go numb, but he was not afraid. He said calmly, so what if he is a level 1 deity? He has no time to care about us now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be alive now. Staring at Su Yu's expression, the strange beast showed a hint of admiration. Your courage is commendable. Indeed, if Yongye Chioma is really refining the dragon pearl, he won't have the time to do it himself. The refining of the dragon pearl cannot be stopped halfway, or all the previous efforts will go to waste. You do have some time to strengthen yourselves. But can I trust you? Having been deceived once, the strange beast was extra vigilant. Su Yu smiled bitterly. Elder, you may not know this, but I have been monitored and tracked by him several times. If he refines the dragon pearl one day, I, the culprit, will not be able to escape. As for the 3 of them, the ancestors see them as insignificant ants. Why would they continue to help us? The strange beast pondered for a long time before finally making up his mind. All right, I will trust you one more time. Upon hearing that, everyone heaved a long sigh of relief. Their bodies were drenched in cold sweat and their legs were weak. However, I can't trust you unconditionally like Yongyecheoma. I have to put a seal on you. Although everyone's expressions were unpleasant, it was not unacceptable. Compared to losing their lives, putting a seal on them was nothing. Having received the consent of the 5 people, the strange beast took out 5 fiery red scales the size of a palm from under its neck. These are my reverse scales. Put them on your chests and they will enter your bodies. They will strengthen your physiques and improve your cultivation. You will also be able to practice my magical powers. Of course, if you betray me, these reverse scales will be the source of your destruction. The few of them were delighted. Apart from the seal, there were other benefits. Suyu grabbed one of the scales and put it on his chest with a strange look on his face. A strange scene appeared. The World Annihilation Dragon's reverse scale on his chest floated out of his body and hit the fiery red reverse scale, sending it flying. However, the fiery red reverse scale was unwilling to give up. Chased after the World Annihilation Dragon's reverse scale and sent it flying. The World Annihilation Dragon's reverse scale? The strange beast was surprised. You actually got that guy's reverse scale? When did he become so generous? Suyu looked at the 2 reverse scales that were wrestling with each other and told the whole story helplessly. Knowing that he was being chased by the World Annihilation Dragon and that this reverse scale was the shadow of the pursuit, the strange beast had a meaningful look in its eyes. Although that guy's temper is bad and his mood is vicious, he won't bother to chase after a nobody like you. It seems that you have done something that made him very angry. Suyu's heart tightened. He was worried that he would be forced to reveal the truth. The strange beast raised its claws and sucked back its reverse scale. It said with a faint smile, "You don't have to put a seal on it." The other 4 people were envious. Suyu was also stunned. "Senior, what are you doing?" The strange beast said, "Since you are being chased by the World Annihilation Dragon, the only one in the world who can protect you is me." Everyone was shocked. Who was this dragon? How could it boast that it could be compared with the World Annihilation Dragon? Suyu was stunned and said with a straight face, "I haven't asked who you are, Senior." The strange beast snorted a dragon's breath from its nostrils and said leisurely, "I am the epic-making dragon. In terms of status, I am above the World Annihilation Dragon." It was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon by the time he finished the 3rd chapter, so he simply finished the 6th chapter in one go. Chapter 1385. If the World Annihilation Dragon meets me, he will have to address me as Lord. Suyu's eyes were filled with deep shock. In his imagination, this down-and-out dragon god was at most a galactic overlord-level god. Unexpectedly, he was qualified to be on an equal footing with the World Annihilation Dragon. According to the evil god, the World Annihilation Dragon had the power to destroy all the Star River overlords, second only to the divine warriors of heaven and earth. So, this so-called epic-making dragon was likely to be a living divine warrior of heaven and earth? Epic-making dragon. The rest of the people were stunned. After a moment of shock, Suyu gradually calmed down and said, "The premise is that your strength is at its peak." The pressure that the World Annihilation Dragon exerted on Suyu was far stronger than that of this epic-making dragon. The epic-making dragon disagreed. Of course, the Dragon Ball is equivalent to more than 90% of the strength of a divine dragon. I have lost the Dragon Ball and have been polluted by sorcery for so long. Naturally, my strength is far from what it used to be. So, the epic-making dragon said meaningfully, if you want to avoid the pursuit of the World Annihilation Dragon, the only way is to kill Nitian Shoma and take back my Dragon Ball. This was the reason why he did not place a seal on Suyu. Even without the seal, Suyu would help the epic-making Dragon Ball in order to survive the World Annihilation Dragon. If I am lucky enough to help you find the Dragon Ball, I will give it to you with both hands. Suyu said thoughtfully. The epic-making dragon smiled deeply. I suddenly believe that you really have the possibility of helping me find the Dragon Ball. Those who are remembered by the World Annihilation Dragon are never simple people. As he spoke, he looked around at the 5 people present and sneered. Nitian Shoma expected that you would die under my claws. Unfortunately, I will not let him get what he wants. Not only will I not kill you, but I will also help you cultivate. Hearing this, even the most indifferent by Wanqing's purple pupils were filled with excitement and surprise. The light in her eyes became brighter and brighter, and she murmured excitedly, "There is light at the end of the tunnel. Fate has changed." Even the Yongye siblings and Yongye Wuming, the descendants of the divine warriors, were so excited that they could hardly control their breathing. As the descendants of the divine warriors, they understood what it meant to be personally guided by the divine warrior of heaven and earth. It signified a metamorphosis. From today onwards, for the next 5 years, I'll personally teach you. The epic-making dragon flicked the 4 reverse scales in front of him toward the 4 of them. I am a member of the dragon tribe. All the divine powers I have practiced in my life are related to the dragon tribe. If you want to practice my divine powers, you must have the body of a dragon tribe. This reverse scale contains a drop of my dragon blood. It can transform your body into a half-dragon body. Only then will you be able to use my unparalleled divine powers. Without hesitation, the 4 accepted the reverse scale and allowed it to merge into their bodies. This was a restriction, but it was also another good fortune. As for you, the epic-making dragon sacrificed a drop of dragon blood and shot it at the space between Su Yu's eyebrows. You don't have a reverse scale. This drop of dragon blood is for you. Use it to transform your dragon body. Su Yu was delighted. He opened his body and allowed the drop of dragon blood to enter his body. You have half a year to digest the dragon blood. After half a year, I'll personally teach you the divine powers. If you haven't refined the dragon blood and achieved a half-dragon body by then, you won't have the chance to practice my dragon tribe divine powers. Upon hearing that, everyone dared not hesitate anymore. They immediately sat down with their legs crossed and focused on refining the dragon blood, lest they miss this great opportunity. The energy contained in the epic-making dragon blood was too pure for them. Even Yongye Wuheng, who was talented, found it extremely difficult to refine it. Half a year wasn't a short time, but he might not be able to refine it. Yongye Wuming was even slower. As soon as he started refining, beads of sweat broke out on his forehead. It was a sign that he couldn't control the divine blood. The epic-making dragon saw how difficult it was for them to refine it, but he didn't say a word. Yongye Chushue and Bai Wanqing's refining made the epic-making dragon chuckle in surprise. One is a genius who has reached level 3, and the other is a genius who has touched the path of destiny. No wonder you can refine my dragon blood so easily. The 2 women's refining process was exceptionally easy. Yongye Chushue's real cultivation was at level 3. Although her cultivation was suppressed, her physical body was extremely strong, and the dragon blood was quickly showing signs of merging with her. As for Bai Wanqing, under her purple eyes, she could see the mysteries hidden in the dragon blood. She peeled the silk from the cocoon and quickly integrated it into her body. In less than a month, they would be able to refine the dragon blood first. Your body was forged with the dragon blood of the World Annihilation Dragon. You don't need to refine my dragon blood, and you can use it directly. The epic-making dragon looked at Su Yu and said, "It seems that you will have to wait for your companion for half a year. I won't have to wait in vain. While they are refining, I want to go to the holy land of the Moonwatch sect," Su Yu said. The epic-making dragon glanced at Yongye Chushue, who was meditating. "Is it about the wizard ancestors sent in her body?" "Exactly," Su Yu said seriously. "I have an agreement with her to help her go to the Holy Land and break the curse in her body with the help of the pure sorcery energy left by the previous leaders of the Moonwatch sect. I want to go to the Holy Land alone and collect sorcery energy. The epic-making dragon sneered. Boy, do you really think the sorcery energy in the Holy Land can dissolve the wizard ancestor's curse in her body? Huh? Suyu was startled. Elder, what do you mean? Walala. The epic-making dragon shook his huge body, and the 10 silver chains suddenly swayed, binding the epic-making dragon so that he couldn't escape. If I told you that the master who sealed the original body here was the first master of the Moonwatch sect, the Grand Sorcerer, would you still think that the sorcerer power of those level 2 sorcerers could compete with the Grand Sorcerer? Hearing that, Su Yu's pupils constricted. He was trapped by the wizard ancestor. What kind of existence was the wizard ancestor? Haha, the power of the wizard ancestor is beyond your imagination. The so-called descendants of the wizard tribe are just playthings that the wizard ancestor created and threw away casually. These wizards worship him like a god, but they don't know that in the eyes of the wizard ancestor, they are just abandoned things. Suyu secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. Although the epic-making dragon disdained the Moonwatch sect, the wizard path practiced by the Moonwatch sect created a brand new training system that was comparable to the divine path. When the 9 divine emperors had just fallen, the Moonwatch sect almost wiped out the 9 great imperial sacred factions of the ancient god realm on their own. If the 9 divine emperors hadn't found the weapons of the ancient civilization left behind, the ancient god realm would have become a mark in history. Such a huge wizard tribe was created and thrown away casually by the wizard ancestor. Humph, if he hadn't left for so many years and never returned, the 9 emperors wouldn't have been able to defeat him even if they joined forces. How could the Moonwatch sect have been forced into such a state? The epic-making dragon said. Suyu had no doubt about that. The epic-making dragon, one of the divine warriors of heaven and earth, was sealed here. The power of the wizard ancestor was beyond doubt. If that was the case, it was almost impossible to resolve the power of the wizard ancestor. Elder, please give me some advice. I have a promise and I have to fulfill it. Suyu cupped his fists and bowed. The epic-making dragon snorted. Why should I send you to your death? Suyu was slightly delighted. He really had a way. Rest assured, Elder. I will come back within half a year to learn your dragon tribe magical powers. Suyu paused and said, If I can't fulfill my promise, my heart will be flawed, and I'm afraid I won't be able to train in peace. If I delay your plans, I won't be able to atone for my sins even if I die 10,000 times. Upon hearing that, the epic-making dragon snorted. Don't play tricks on me. With countless years of experience, he could certainly tell that Suyu was trying to provoke him. However, what you said is exactly what I'm worried about. The magical powers of the dragon tribe are different from ordinary magical powers. They can't tolerate the slightest interference. If you lose focus at a critical moment and fail to cultivate the magical powers, it will backfire on me. The epic-making dragon thought for a moment, and 2 golden dragon horns appeared on his head. His head slammed into the void, and the 2 dragon horns broke off with a crack, falling in front of Suyu. These 2 dragon horns are my original life object. At a critical moment, burn one of them, and I will attack you from a distance. You have 2 chances, and I hope you will cherish them. Suyu was overjoyed. This meant that Suyu had 2 chances to use the top-notch life-saving means of the Empire Monarch. With the dragon horns, there were many places that Suyu could go to, even though the Lost Nation was dangerous. Don't be careless. With the protection of my dragon horns, your life can indeed be protected. However, there are 2 places that you'd better not set foot in. Otherwise, I won't be able to save you. Suyu was surprised. Are you counting on the headquarters of the Moon God sect? A bunch of pitiful, pathetic ants. Do you think I'm afraid of them? The epic-making dragon said disdainfully, and his eyes gradually turned solemn. What I'm talking about are the 2 dangerous places in the Lost Nation. Together with my place, the wizard tribe calls them the 3 great forbidden lands. The epoch-making dragon's expression was indescribably fearful. However, compared to the other two forbidden lands, my place is not a forbidden land at all. I won't bother to kill intruders without alerting me. However, the other two forbidden lands are the truly dangerous ones. Suyu was surprised. This place was called the Forbidden Land of 10,000 Demons. There were countless void spaces and strange beasts. To any living creature, it was definitely a forbidden land. However, in the eyes of the epoch-making dragon, the other two forbidden lands were the real forbidden lands. Elder, what are the dangers of those two forbidden lands? The epoch-making dragon shook his head. I don't know. I was imprisoned in this world by the wizard ancestor. I've never left this void space, so I don't know about the outside world. However, Yongye took my dragon pearl and tried to explore one of the forbidden lands. In the end, even though he had the dragon pearl and had the strength of a level 2, he still almost died in there. According to him, the two forbidden lands were personally set up by the wizard ancestor. They contain the power to kill the divine destroyer. Suyu sucked in a breath of cold air. Kill the divine destroyer, this forbidden land was too terrifying. So, you can go anywhere in the Lost Nation except this place. Don't step into it. Suyu nodded deeply. If it wasn't necessary, he certainly wouldn't go there. Back to the topic at hand. Elder, you gave me 2 life-saving items. I guess the method to dispel the wizard curse must be very dangerous, right? The epoch-making dragon smiled mysteriously. You could say it's dangerous, especially for a handsome creature like you. It's even more dangerous. His tone was filled with malicious mockery, which made Suyu's hair stand on end. Chapter 1386. Senior, please enlighten me, Suyu said. The epoch-making dragon said, It would be meaningless if I enlighten you. Anyway, if you want to dispel the curse, you have to go to the holy land of the Moonwatch sect now. However, I'm not asking you to collect the sorcery energy of the previous sect masters. What should I do then? Suyu asked after some thought. There is an ancient tomb in the holy land of the Moonwatch sect. It is the cenotaph of the wizard ancestor, the epoch-making dragon said. You just need to touch the inscription on the cenotaph, and you can begin. Beginning? Suyu had a bad feeling. It might not be dangerous, but it would be very troublesome. But the epoch-making dragon did not say anything, and Suyu did not have the strength to force him. Feeling helpless, Suyu said, All right, I'll set off now. Haha, I'll send you out. The epoch-making dragon lifted his giant claw and sent Suyu out of the void space. When he got outside, he discovered that there were exotic beasts crawling all over the place, as if they were protecting their king. However, they did not care about Suyu's appearance. These are the scale incarnations that I created in order to escape. They are a layer of defense. You can go now, but remember to come back in half a year. The epoch-making dragon's voice sounded in the void space. Suyu nodded and left the void space unimpeded, heading straight for the holy land of the Moonwatch sect. At the same time, in the Diu tribe, which was covered with mountains of corpses and seas of blood, Nitian Hanxing stood before 3 statues. In front of each statue was a powerful tribe leader. First Prince, everything is ready. We can begin to break the space barrier and set off for the holy land of the Moonwatch sect. The 2 commanders bowed. Nitian Hanxing grinned hideously and said, I've been waiting for this day. I'll kill my way into the holy land of the Moonwatch sect, flatten the headquarters of the Moonwatch sect, abduct the Saint Lady, and create an unprecedented hegemony. The 3 statues were activated, each borrowing the power of 10,000 statues to converge into a gigantic rune in the Diu tribe. Wherever the runes passed, the influence of the surrounding space would be shattered, opening up a path for the army to move unimpeded. In the void space, the epoch-making dragon seemed to have sensed something. With a deep smile, he said, This seems even more interesting. If the boy is lucky enough, he will gain a lot. Swish. Suyu walked out of the void space. Following the route map, he activated the yin-yang wings of Supreme Pole and teleported hundreds of millions of miles away. A few days later, the figure of a silver-haired handsome young man appeared on a barren mountain. His deep gaze was cast towards the horizon, landing on a gray and distant place. In the distant sky, boundlessly pure gray mist roiled, and it emitted a shaman energy that caused one's heart to palpitate. Powerful ripples reverberated in the sky for a long time. None of the living creatures dared to come within 10,000 miles of the sky, including the mountain range where Su Yu was. It was completely barren, without any living creatures. It was a world of dead silence. Moreover, Su Yu's intuition told him that there were hundreds of evil auras hidden under the gray sky, which made him feel extremely uneasy. A pitch-black dragon involuntarily appeared on his right palm, swimming back and forth in his palm. Such a strong death aura. Even the dragon of death sensed it and appeared involuntarily. Su Yu murmured softly with a solemn look on his face. As one of the 9 dragons in the divine 9-dragon cauldron, the dragon of death would only appear when Su Yu summoned it. This was the first time that it had appeared on its own. Back at the myriad bone mountain, the dragon of death had not stirred in the slightest when faced with the remains of thousands of deities. However, it had appeared this time, which showed that the death aura in that area was extremely strong. After all, it is the Holy Land where the previous Moonwatch sect masters are buried. I need to make some serious preparations, Su Yu said thoughtfully. Then, he entered the 9-jade spiritual pearl. As soon as he entered, Su Yu felt a strong Buddha's light and ghost energy rushing towards him. Looking around, he saw a lovely girl of 18 years old sitting cross-legged and training seriously. The girl was handsome, with a cute nose, thick eyebrows, and snow-white skin. Su Yu was stunned. "Who is it?" The girl opened her eyes and smiled. Her eyes were bright and her teeth were white. She was extremely charming. "It's me, Master Shunga." "You?" Su Yu was stunned. He was used to Shunga in her childlike form. Now that she had suddenly transformed into an 18-year-old girl, he almost couldn't recognize her. The girl smiled. "Don't you like it, Master?" Intentionally or unintentionally, she puffed out her mature chest proudly. "Ahem. Have you become a deity?" Su Yu felt a strong divine energy from her, and it wasn't weak at all. It was at the level of a late-stage perspective deity. Shunga smiled sweetly. "With the legacy of the ancient divine path from Shao Dai and the support of Master's endless resources, not only did I break through the realm of deities, but I also quickly rose to the level of a late-stage perspective deity." Su Yu was surprised. "Resources are only one aspect. Your cultivation speed must be due to the uniqueness of your divine path. Speaking of which, where is Shao Dai?" Su Yu glanced around and found the cocoon. The cocoon was several times larger than before. It was as tall as a person. A strong life force was constantly emanating from the cocoon. "She is still transforming, but she should be out soon. A year ago, I received a message from Shao Dai telling me that she was about to come out." Shunga was also looking forward to it. What would Shao Dai become after this transformation? Su Yu was also very curious. A butterfly with the memories of the divine realm? What was her background? After thinking about it, Su Yu took out a space ring. It was something he had obtained after killing the Azura and threw it to him. "If there are suitable resources, use them yourself." "Ah. Thank you, Master." Now that she had become a deity, Shunga's senses were much sharper. She immediately sensed the extraordinariness of the ring and was overjoyed. She took it and said, "Master, if I can be of use to you, please don't stand on ceremony. I am now very different from before." Su Yu smiled. "It is enough that you have the intention. I will let you help when necessary." As his voice trailed off, he appeared in front of the nursery. A strange, purplish-black tree that was 100 feet tall stood in the nursery, exuding a wonderful calming scent. "Purplish-black?" Su Yu smiled lightly. "The supreme growing soil is indeed omnipotent. A normal soul stabilizing would only had a lifespan of 100 years. After that, it would naturally wither and die, and its mature body was brown. The soul stabilizing wood cultivated by the supreme growing soil had a lifespan of more than 100 years, reaching a nature-defying lifespan of 1,000 years. Its color was also purplish-black. The most amazing thing was that it had borne 10 fruit. There was no record of a normal soul-stabilizing wood bearing fruit. With a grasp of his palm, he plucked one of the fruit. As it fell into his palm, its fragrance wafted into his nose, immediately calming his soul. The calming scent it emitted was several times stronger than that of the soul-stabilizing wood itself. TSK. Could the fruit be the essence of the soul-stabilizing wood? Suyu was secretly surprised. He removed a small piece and examined it. As expected, there were no side effects. Haha, looks like I don't have to carry the soul-stabilizing wood around with me. Suyu smiled and swallowed one. Suddenly, an indescribably comfortable feeling came from his soul. It was exceptionally ethereal. Chapter 1387. With this preparation, I can go to the Holy Land without any worries. Suyu's soul returned to his body and immediately appeared outside the Holy Land. As soon as he stepped in, a gust of death energy surged towards him. Suyu was not in a hurry. An amazing life force burst forth from his chest, counteracting the death energy that had entered his body. However, it was not only the death energy that attacked him, but also the dark gray energy that surrounded the sky. It was the powerful sorcery energy left behind by the corpses of the previous Moonwatch sect masters. Suyu was not afraid of this. He took out a piece of soul-stabilizing wood that Yongye Chushua had given him and blocked the sorcery energy outside his body. Only then did Suyu step into the Holy Land. However, at this moment, Suyu's ears twitched and he heard some faint voices. He looked around and saw 2 people walking towards the center of the Holy Land with difficulty in the distance. She is 16 years old this year. She is about to reach that age. If we don't try now, we will never have a chance, a crippled level 5 wizard in his 30s said. Next to him was a white-faced man in his 20s, who was only a level 6 deity. Yes, whether we can enter the list of candidates depends on this. If we don't succeed, we will never have a chance. Suyu raised his eyebrows. What are they talking about? Suddenly, the crippled wizard looked behind him and said in surprise, Another one. Well, it's the last few days. Who doesn't want to try? The sorcery energy here was so strong that the other party did not notice that Suyu was not a wizard. Little brother, we are from Xing capital. My name is Wang Dachui, and this is my nephew, Wang Feilin. May I ask who you are? The other party said. Suyu pondered for a moment, then walked up and cupped his fists. I am Suyu. His footsteps were light, and the death energy and sorcery energy had little effect on him. Wang Dachui was surprised. Eh? You are walking in this holy land so easily? What a strong vitality, and 80-year-old soul-stabilizing wood. Wang Dachui exclaimed with envy. TSK, you are well prepared. Little brother, you are really willing to do this for her. Her? Suyu wanted to ask who she was, but he would be exposed if he asked. So, he pretended to be dumb and smiled. I know, I want to try too. Wang Dachui looked Suyu up and down and laughed. Little brother, you are so handsome. If you can qualify as a candidate, you are more qualified than most people. What are you guys talking about? Suyu was suspicious. Haha, of course. Suyu laughed dryly. On the other hand, Wang Feilin was indignant when he heard his uncle praising Suyu. He snorted. Let's go into the depths of the Holy Land first. Without the strength of a deity, most people will be defeated before they reach the depth. After saying that, he took a step forward and headed straight for the forest. Wang Dachui smiled, cupped his fists and said, Little brother, see you at the holy altar. Suyu nodded with a smile. He waited until they disappeared from his line of sight before continuing his journey. As he went deeper, Su-yu noticed that the death energy and sorcery energy were getting stronger and stronger. The heart of eternity was beating faster, and the soul-stabilizing wood in his palm was emitting a soul-stabilizing energy, counteracting the omnipresent waves of sorcery energy. The speed of his advance gradually slowed down. When he arrived in front of a forest, the power of death and wizard power became stronger. The heart of eternity was beating even faster, and the soul-stabilizing wood was boiling hot, as if it was about to combust. The forest ahead is the depths of the Holy Land? Through the forest, I can reach the cenotaph of the wizard ancestor, Su-yu thought to himself as he stepped into the forest. Unexpectedly, as soon as he entered, an obscure wave of sorcery spell, hidden in the sorcery energy that filled the sky, suddenly attacked Su-yu. Su-yu's reaction was extremely fast. Without thinking, he blocked it with the soul-stabilizing wood. The power of the soul-stabilizing wood quickly neutralized the wave. "Who is it?" Su-yu bellowed coldly, turning his head to look. He saw a masked man in black standing coldly on a tree, chanting a spell and casting a spell. He let out a soft gasp of surprise when his attack failed. Then, he threw out a cylindrical magical artifact. The magical artifact shattered in the air, and long, razor-sharp needles shot out from it, emitting deadly poison as they pierced toward Su-yu. Su-yu didn't even bother to use the ice-blue divine armor. With a shift of his mind, the long needles that were attacking him suddenly stopped listening to him and changed direction abruptly. The black-clothed man on the tree was caught off guard and was pierced all over by his own steel needles. In an instant, he was poisoned and died on the spot, falling from the tree. Su-yu walked over and examined the body. In a space ring, he found 9 fresh corpses with different levels of cultivation. Most of them were wizards of level 6. Judging from the age and gender of the corpses, it seems that they were all candidates. If the black-clothed man wanted to reduce the number of competitors, he didn't have to kill 9 people in a row. The right thing to do was to get to the holy altar as soon as possible. Why did he stay here to kill competitors? With confusion, Su-yu continued to go deeper. In the end, within half a day, he was once again assassinated by the black-clothed man. Although it was easily resolved, Su-yu knew that these black-clothed men were organized and had a purpose. Clang! The sound of metal clashing reached his ears. Someone was fighting. Su-yu's heart skipped a beat. He rushed over to take a look and saw a handsome man with a jade-like face fighting with a black-clothed wizard. To Su-yu's surprise, he actually knew the black-clothed wizard. It was Wu Tong, the great wizard who had fought with Xue Xiaoman in the myriad Bone Mountain and fled in panic. As for the handsome young man who was fighting with him, Su-yu's mouth twitched. That was not a man, but a woman dressed as a man. Judging from her appearance, it was Kaylin. The world was vast, but their world was not. They had encountered them in the Holy Land far away in the depths of the Lost Nation. Accept your fate. The Saint Lady's fate has been decided. You can't change it. Wu Tong snorted coldly. A blow that was imbued with sorcery energy sent Kaylin flying. Kaylin's snow-white teeth were stained with traces of blood. Her eyes were unyielding as she held a statue of the Saint Lady in her hand. The statue was covered in cracks. In Wu Tong's hand was a long saber made from a special material. The sound of metal clashing just now was the sound of the collision between the two objects. The saint saw through your plan long ago and gave me the heart-slashing knife. The amulet that the Saint Lady gave you is useless against me. Wu Tong grinned hideously. As he spoke, the heart-slashing knife in his hand struck again. Kaylin hurriedly summoned the statue, which emitted a magnificent light in the void. In the area where the light shone, all sorcery energy disappeared. However, under the attack of the heart-slashing knife, the light was instantly extinguished, and the knife struck the statue. Crack! The statue shattered, and the sword chi pierced through the statue and headed straight for Kaylin. Kaylin's expression was solemn. With a low shout, she displayed her divine power. 1,000 hands picking flowers. Her palms formed a seal in front of her chest, and a divine path condensed behind her. It was a god with countless arms. The thousands of arms took turns to block the sword chi, quickly wearing it down. When the sword chi reached Kalen's chest, it was already worn down. However, at this moment, an obscure ripple followed closely behind. Before Kalen could heave a sigh of relief, she was immediately hit by the ripple, and her whole body stiffened. "It's over." Wutong grinned hideously and muttered a spell. Soul-destroying spell. A spell full of murderous intent suddenly descended and swept toward Kalen. Kalen's heart sank. She knew that things were not going well, but she could not resist the spell. She instinctively closed her eyes in the face of danger. Her heart was filled with despair. At this moment, no one would come to save her. However, at this moment there was a muffled sound. It was a piece of soul-stabilizing wood that traveled through the void and floated above Kalen's head, easily dispersing the ripple. "Who is it?" Wutong's expression changed abruptly, and he bellowed. He looked at Su Yu and couldn't help but frown. You are that God Realm kid from the Myriad Bone Mountain?" Chapter 1388. However, he did not know about Su Yu's confrontation with the Emperor of the Empire. "It's been a long time." Su Yu smiled lightly and walked out of the dense forest confidently. Hearing the strange movement, Kalen opened her crystal-like eyes and looked surprised. She even suspected that she was dreaming. She smiled bitterly and said, "Could it be that I'm hallucinating because I'm about to die? How could he have entered the holy land of the Moonwatch sect? It must be a hallucination, it must be." "Haha, it's been a long time, Servant Kalen," Su Yu said with a smile. Kalen shuddered and opened her eyes abruptly. She stared at Su Yu in disbelief and stammered, How is this possible? How could you come here?" "Yes, the world is a small place." Su Yu smiled helplessly. "From the Star River God Realm to the Ancient God Realm, and from the Ancient God Realm to the Mysterious Nation, they always met. So it's an old acquaintance. That's even better. You'll have a companion when you go down, so you won't be too lonely." Wutong was shocked, but he grinned and swung the heart-splitting knife again. Kalen exclaimed, "Get out of the way! This is a divine knife forged by the saint himself. It contains a powerful curse. You'll die if you touch it." Su Yu's eyes narrowed. Only then did he realize that the soft hum that erupted when the heart-splitting knife slashed through the air was a curse. It would have been difficult to detect if one did not sense it carefully. However, since it was a curse, it was easy to deal with. Su Yu took out a flute, placed it by his mouth, and played a short tune. Suddenly, the celestial melody drifted out, dispelling the curse attached to the heart-splitting knife. How is this possible? Wutong was shocked. Any level 5 deity could be killed by a single stroke of the heart-splitting knife. This was the first time it had been broken like this. However, before he had a chance to be surprised, Su Yu raised his sleeves and the violet gold rings of Yin Yang instantly wrapped around him. "This is that woman's treasure." Wutong recognized it instantly and his face turned pale. Su Yu said calmly, "It's good that you know her. Do you have any last words?" Wutong clenched his teeth, but he had no intention of surrendering. "I will not surrender to the enemy of the God Realm. Your courage is commendable. I admire you very much," Su Yu said calmly. However, his divine light suddenly turned cold. So, swish. 2 beams of light shot out from Su Yu's eyes and pierced into his brow. Wutong did not even let out a scream. His eyes immediately dimmed, but soon brightened again. His ferocious expression immediately eased up and transformed into a wisp of excitement and devotion. He disregarded the tightness of the violet gold yin-yang rings around his body as he knelt down on one knee and said, "Wutong greets Master and obeys Master's orders." Su Yu retrieved the violet gold rings of yin-yang and said indifferently, "Go, do what you have to do. Don't let anyone notice anything strange. If there comes a day when I need your help, I will let you know." I vow to carry out master's orders with my life. Wu Tong kowtowed and immediately escaped. Kaylin, who had witnessed this scene with her own eyes, was extremely shocked. Use Su Su Use Yun Use Su. Wu Yu, a dragon god realm. Dragon god, Su 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 Su, in Yu Si in a Yu was master, Su time Yu dynasty. But now, a level 2 deity, a top-notch deity at the level of Dakini and Alliance Master Luo in the god realm of Star River, had been subdued and controlled in no time at all. The change was so drastic that Kaylin couldn't accept it. After a long time, she finally recovered from her shock. She sucked in a breath of cold air and widened her eyes. The Saint Lord is right. Your hidden strength is indeed shocking. At the very least, level 5 deities can't do anything to you. Su Yu smiled. Not to mention level 5 deities, even among level 4 deities, there were very few who could rival Su Yu. He did not point it out but asked, "Why are you here?" Kaylin blinked and asked in surprise, "That's what I wanted to ask you. Why are you here? Do you, an enemy of the God realm, want to be the husband of the Saint Lady of the Moonwatch sect?" "Yes." Su Yu raised his eyebrows and said in surprise, "Husband? Where did that come from?" Kaylin was stunned. "You came here without knowing anything?" Seeing Su Yu shake his head, Kaylin looked confused. Since ancient times, the Holy Land has been an important examination ground for the Moonwatch sect, especially when the Saint Lady chooses her husband. She must first pass the examination of the Holy Land. "I thought you came for the Saint Lady." Su Yu was speechless. He finally understood the epic-making dragon's bad taste. His face darkened. "I came for another matter. However, I have to go to the wizard ancestor's cenotaph. If you don't mind, come with me. Since you told me the truth, I'll do my best to protect you." Kaylin had mixed feelings. Once upon a time, she regarded Su Yu as an ant that she could kill at any time. Now, she had to be sheltered under his wings. "Yes." Kaylin nodded gently and followed behind Su Yu. She thought for a moment and said, "Why did you let Wu Tong go?" "He is the saint's man, and he won't be friendly to you." Su Yu shrugged. "Just in case I left a spy. If the saint is ungrateful and bumps into me, there will always be an ambush." Hearing that, Kaylin couldn't help but mutter, "You're up to no good again." "What did you say?" Su Yu turned his head and asked. Kaylin hurriedly said with a straight face, "I mean, you are full of justice and kindness." "Oh, is that so? I think so too." Su Yu touched his cheek and chuckled. The righteous and kind Su Yu led Kaylin through the deep forest without any hindrance. Suddenly, a vast plain appeared in front of them. In the middle of the plain stood a stone altar that was 10,000 feet high. There was a staircase that could be climbed up to the altar, but it was guarded by 2 powerful level 3 wizards. It was temporarily sealed, and it seemed that it had not been opened yet. Around the altar stood dozens of young men, all of whom were candidates for the Saint Lady's marriage. Su Yu didn't care about them, nor was he interested in the Saint Lady's marriage. His eyes were fixed on the top of the altar, on a tombstone that was so ancient that the inscriptions on it were blurred. Touching the tombstone would reveal the method of dispelling the wizard ancestor's curse. Su Yu had already inquired about it. The condition to become a candidate for the Saint Lady's marriage was to leave your name on a list next to the ancient tomb. If Su Yu didn't leave his name, it wouldn't be a big deal. The assessment is only available once a day. In half a day it will open. Kaylin pointed to the staircase. The key to the assessment is the staircase. Most people can't pass the staircase. Su Yu thought for a moment and said, "What is the probability of you succeeding if you are alone?" "It's hard to say. If no one tries to exclude me, about 20% chance." "So low?" Su Yu was surprised. Could it be that the staircase was extremely difficult? Right at that moment, a cold breath, wrapped in a gust of wind, passed through the deep forest behind him. Looking up, he saw a 7-colored unicorn galloping across the sky like the wind. On the unicorn stood a young man with red flames dancing between his eyebrows. Chapter 1389. This breath. Su Yu's eyes narrowed slightly. He had once sensed the existence of this breath in the evil Fending Villa. At that time, he had attacked Su Yu from a distance, but Su Yu had resolved it with the true sky flute of heavenly melody. It turns out that the strong man of the Moonwatch sect I met was the saint. Why did he go to the evil Fending Villa? Deep in Su Yu's pupils there was a flash of light. The arrival of the saint caused a sensation. Look, it's the saint. Hey! The saint really came to participate. If that's the case, I think there's no suspense in the selection of the Saint Lady's son-in-law. Since ancient times, the Saint Lady Temple and the Saint Temple have been enemies. The next leader of the Moonwatch sect will only be chosen from the two. The saint's participation in the selection of the Saint Lady's son-in-law is to cause trouble. If the Saint Lady cannot choose a satisfactory husband, according to the rules of the sect, she cannot inherit the position of leader. Everyone's hearts were as clear as a mirror. The saint had personally participated in the selection of a son-in-law, and his intentions were self-evident. Thinking of the ambush in the woods, the saint was determined to sabotage the selection. However, I'm afraid it won't be easy for the saint to sabotage the selection. Both capitals have sent their strongest geniuses, including Wang Qinchen of the Qing capital. When he competed for the position of the saint, he only lost the position because of a slight disadvantage. Now that he has made a comeback, I don't think the saint will be able to defeat him easily. The saint descended on his unicorn, looking at the crowd with disdain. He glanced at them casually, not taking them seriously at all. I'll give you a chance to get out of my way. Otherwise, don't blame me if you die or get injured. The flame between the saint's eyebrows suddenly throbbed, and a murderous aura leaked out. The participants who had finally reached the holy altar dared not speak up. Although the saint was overbearing, who could disobey him? Some who were afraid of the saint's authority, after thinking for a long time, gritted their teeth and gave up, withdrawing from the selection. Less than 50% chose to stay, thinking that the saint could not do anything to them during the assessment. Among them were Wang Dachui and Wang Feilin. I've given you a chance, a bunch of ungrateful people. The saint glanced coldly at the candidates who insisted on staying, his eyes filled with a cold light. Wang Feilin clenched his fists and muttered, "What's there to be proud of? The sect master has been in seclusion for many years and doesn't care about the truth. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed you to be so impudent, openly killing a participant of the saint's son-in-law selection and causing trouble in public." There was a blood stain on his shoulder. It was left behind when they were ambushed in the wood. Who knew that the saint's eyes and ears were so sharp that he could hear the murmur even from far away. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. Insulting the saint is a great disrespect. Die. With that, the saint waved his wrist, and a third heaven-level sorcery incantation wave blasted toward Wang Feilin. Wang Feilin's expression changed drastically. He was both anxious and furious. Heart-rotting curse. You're so vicious. He had only muttered a few words, but he had suffered a fatal disaster. In the blink of an eye, Wang Feilin frantically retreated while casting spells to counteract the attack. However, he was only an ordinary level 6 sorcerer. How could he block the attack of a level 3 sorcerer? Under such a powerful attack, he couldn't even cast a curse. Be careful. Beside him, Wang Dachui's expression changed, and he hurriedly cast a spell to neutralize it. The ripples produced by the spell were dispersed in an instant, and there wasn't even the slightest bit of protection. At the critical moment, Wang Dachui roared and threw out a statue the size of a palm. The statue was somewhat similar to the one used by Kalen before. It contained a powerful spell power, and an umbrella-shaped ripple spread out, sheltering Wang Feilin within it. Buzz! A powerful explosion burst forth invisibly. The The saint's ripples crushed the umbrella-shaped ripple and sent it flying backward rapidly. Wang Feilin was crushed by the tremendous force, and he was sent flying in a frenzy, spitting blood continuously from his mouth. Even if the saint's ripples didn't directly land on his body, just the crushing force alone was enough to blast him to the point where he would vomit blood and die. What was even more unfortunate was that the direction in which he was flying backward happened to be where Su Yu and Kalen were. Kalen's gaze froze and she said, "Dodge. We can't block it." However, how difficult was it to dodge the saint's attack? Even if he used all the divine power in his body, he might not be able to avoid it safely. Seeing that the three of them were about to collide, Su Yu silently took out the 80-year-old soul-stabilizing wood and held it in his palm, dispelling most of the saint's spell power. Then, he secretly activated the World Annihilation Dragon power and removed most of the force from Wang Feilin's body. Only then did his figure slow down, and Su Yu took the opportunity to pull Kalen away. Wang Feilin staggered backward, then staggered and fell to the ground with his head on the ground. He looked like a tortoise tumbling, and he was in a sorry state. The crowd couldn't help but laugh. Although the saint is overbearing, he deserves to have a nasty mouth. He's lucky that he managed to survive by falling on his back. The saint's blow was supposed to kill him. Everyone was watching and there were sarcastic whispers. This made Wang Feilin, who had already lost face, feel even more ashamed and annoyed. When he saw Kalen, who looked indifferent and easily dodged to the side, he was furious. He climbed up and shouted, "Bastard! Tell me, who asked you to deliberately trip me?" Judging from the situation just now, he did seem to have been tripped by Su Yu. However, he knew best in his heart whether that was the case or not. Without Su Yu to dissolve the force, he would have been lying on the ground and turned into a cold corpse. How could he have the chance to blame Su Yu? Su Yu sneered. The person who beat you up so badly was right in front of you, and you didn't dare to speak, question, or take revenge. It was as if nothing had happened. To me, the one who helped you, you spoke viciously and showed your ferocity, and your resentment was overwhelming. Haha, people like you are cowardly to the bone. If the holy maiden takes a fancy to you, then she must be blind. Wang Feilin's face turned red, and his anger rose and tumbled. He shouted angrily, "How dare you? Who do you think you are to judge me? Do you know who I am? The Wang family of Xing capital is 10,000 times more noble than you. I don't need you to tell me what to do." "Shut up." Wang Dachui walked over with a sullen face and scolded. From his point of view, he had clearly seen the whole process of what had just happened. It was Su Yu who dispelled the curse, and it was Su Yu who dispelled the force. Putting aside the fact that he had saved his life, the hidden means and strength of Su Yu were enough to make Wang Dachui shudder. Seeing that his nephew was recklessly venting his anger on others, he scolded sternly. Unexpectedly, his scolding had the opposite effect. "Uncle, even now you are still siding with him? Don't you see that he put me in such a sorry state?" Wang Feilin said angrily. Wang Dachui pressed on his shoulder, shook his head, and said in a low voice, "First, it's not that I'm siding with him, but he's right. If you don't have the courage to take revenge on the saint, don't vent your anger on others. It will only make you look narrow-minded, weak, and useless. Second, you are no match for him, so don't embarrass yourself." Although his words weren't pleasant to hear, every word he said was reasonable. However, Wang Feilin, who was overwhelmed with anger, would listen to such harsh advice? "Ha ha, I'm no match for him?" Wang Feilin shook off his uncle's hand and said coldly, "Uncle, you are old. Not only are you muddle-headed, but you are also siding with an outsider. Even your eyes are not working well. How dare you suspect that I'm no match for him?" "Fine, let me try. What's so great about him?" Wang Feilin ran as if he was flying, chanting incantations. A strange ripple rose under his feet, causing his legs to move like the wind, and his speed to increase exponentially. Swish, Su Yu felt a blurry shadow flicker, and a giant palm tore through space, slapping toward his face. I'm giving you a slap to wake you up. Su Yu's eyes shone with a cold light, and he laughed out of anger. Su Yu had not taken it to heart when Wang Feilin had spoken rudely at the periphery. He could not be bothered to bicker with a playboy like him. Just now, Wang Feilin had vented his anger on Su Yu, and Su Yu could not be bothered to deal with him. Now Wang Feilin had gone too far. Scram! Su Yu frowned. His right arm was suddenly covered with a layer of pitch-black dragon scales, and he slapped twice as fast as lightning. Slap, slap, 2 loud and crisp slaps reverberated through the entire area. The people who had been watching the show gradually became solemn. It was clear that Wang Feilin had struck first, but he had been slapped twice by Su Yu, who had struck later, and had no chance to fight back. Poof! The slaps were so powerful that both sides of Wang Feilin's cheeks were badly mutilated, and his whole body flew backward with blood gushing out. He landed in the arms of Wang Dachui, who had rushed over just in time. The pain brought Wang Feilin back to his senses, and he stared in horror at Su Yu, who was standing motionless on the spot. The moment they exchanged blows, he felt a terrible sense of suffocation. It was a feeling that he had not felt even when facing a level 5 great wizard. Only the saint could give him such a sense of panic. You! Wang Feilin covered his cheek, angry and afraid. Wang Dachui let go of his nephew, cupped his fists, and bowed deeply. Thank you, little brother, for showing mercy. I was ignorant, and I hope you can forgive me. Su Yu glanced at them indifferently, then shifted his gaze indifferently to the saint in the sky. He was staring at Su Yu. A trace of doubt lingered in his eyes. Your scent seems familiar. We must have met somewhere before. Su Yu thought to himself. Not only had they met, but they had also fought. Well, I'll get rid of you as well, the saint said lightly, as if killing people who posed a threat to him in public was nothing out of the ordinary. However, at that moment, a majestic sound pierced through the sky, causing the unicorn under the feet of the saint to panic. The saint snorted coldly and stomped his feet, calming the unicorn. His eyes stared coldly in front of him. Wang Qingchen. In the distance, a handsome young man with long blue hair, riding on a white crane, flew over at a moderate speed. The young man's breath was restrained, but the waves of sorcery that were emitted from time to time were as terrifying as the abyss. Zhao Tianyin, long time no see. Wang Qingchen looked indifferent as he flew in front of Wang Dachui and his nephew, staring at the saint. The saint's real name was Zhao Tianyin. When he was young, he once competed with Wang Qingchen for the position of the saint. Wang Qingchen lost the throne of the saint by a single move. A loser. Zhao Tianyin snorted softly, withdrawing his murderous intent and no longer attacking. It was clear that he still had some fear of Wang Qingchen. Big brother, you have to stand up for me. Wang Feilin covered his cheek, as if he had found his backbone. He was Wang Qingchen's younger brother. Wang Qingchen looked at him and said, I saw everything that happened just now. Wang Feilin looked delighted and glared at Su Yu with resentment. Big brother, pay me back tenfold. All right. Wang Qingchen nodded lightly and stretched out his palm. Slap. Suddenly, he turned around with a trace of anger on his face. He slapped Wang Feilin's face with the back of his hand, causing his already bloody face to splatter blood and flesh. Wang Feilin was stunned and screamed, Big brother, why did you hit me? Wang Qingchen said coldly, This slap is to thank him on your behalf. Without him, you would already be a pile of rotten meat. As his voice fell, he moved like lightning. Slap. There was another crisp sound. Wang Feilin was slapped again, and half of his cheek was smashed. This slap is to apologize to him on behalf of the Wang clan. The ancients said that hatred can be forgotten, but kindness must be repaid. Not only are you ungrateful, but you also take your anger out on others and regard them as enemies. You have disgraced the Wang clan. Wang Feilin's eyes were stunned and he was stunned. Then, there was another slap. The last half of Wang Feilin's cheek was smashed, and he fainted on the spot. This slap is for yourself. Remember today's lesson. Wang Qingchen retracted his palm indifferently and said, Uncle Dachui, take him back. In the future, without my orders, don't let him come out and make a fool of himself. Wang Dachui smiled bitterly. Fortunately, you came. Well, this is not our stage. He cupped his fists at Su Yu, picked up the unconscious Wang Feilin, and quickly left. When the farce was over, Wang Qingchen walked towards Su Yu with his hands behind his back and nodded approvingly. Your strength is not bad. After that, he stood under the holy altar and did not speak to anyone, like the proud white crane in the sky. Kalen frowned slightly. He is really arrogant, to look down on you so much. You are a figure that even the two emperors could not keep. Compared to you, where does he get the confidence to evaluate you like this? Su Yu just smiled and did not care. He, the Saint Zhao Tianyin and Wang Qingchen of the Wang clan are both here. It seems that today's assessment is going to be interesting. A gloomy voice crossed the deep forest, piercing the ears. Many wizards could not help but recite spells to resist the shrill sound. The soul-stabilizing wood in Su Yu's palm continued to emit power, offsetting the harsh dark force. It's Chu Bawang of Fan Capital. He actually rushed to participate in the Holy Land assessment today. Chu Bawang's strength was ranked third in the competition for the saint. More than a decade has passed. I wonder how far he has cultivated and how much stronger he is now. Su Yu looked at him and felt a lot of pressure. This person's strength was also extremely strong, at least not inferior to a level 3 deity. The Moonwatch sect was really full of talented people. A selection for a son-in-law had brought out 3 top young geniuses. Zhao Tianyin and Wang Qingchen both looked at him silently, and then looked away without expression. Deep in their eyes there was a hint of fear. Soon, a skinny young man in a black robe walked out of the deep forest. He looked at the 2 old guards guarding the stairs with a wicked smile. It's about time. We can take the test now. The 2 old guards looked at the sky and stepped aside. At the same time, they each took out a wooden statue and threw it on the stairs. Chi! The 2 wooden statues exploded, and from each of them burst out a yin and a yang. 2 kinds of special breath densely covered every part of the stairs. The yin and yang energies blended with each other. There was me in you and you in me. It was ever-changing in an instant. Finally, with a swoosh, 2 strange black and white flames appeared, engulfing the stairs in flames. The black and white flames were very strange. They were neither hot nor cold, but they made people feel extremely uncomfortable and conflicted. Kalen whispered into Su Yu's ear, "This is the yin-yang wizard fire, the supreme flame that only the Moonwatch sect leader can master. It is more terrible than any known flame in the god realm. It specializes in burning souls. Those whose souls are not pure enough will not be able to withstand the burning. The test is to walk from the flame to the holy altar on foot. If you can persevere, you will succeed. Otherwise, you will fail." Su Yu understood. He stared at the yin-yang wizard fire, not intending to step forward immediately. "Who are you waiting for?" the 2 guards asked mechanically. There was a moment of silence in the crowd. A level 5 wizard rolled his eyes and took the lead. "I'll go first." Chapter 1390. His skin was transparent, and his blood vessels, internal organs, and even bones could be seen. He had a special physique. His eyes shone with shrewdness and cunning. This invisible young master really knows how to take advantage of others, a yellow-robed youth snorted, his tone full of jealousy and envy. The yin-yang wizard fire gets stronger as it goes on. He did take advantage of others by challenging first. The silver-robed man beside him looked calm. However, the first place also has its risk. Didn't you see that Zhao Tianyin, Wang Qingchen, and Chu Bawang didn't challenge first? The silver-robed man stared at the stairs, his eyes full of fear. The yin-yang wizard fire can change at any time. If you are not careful, you will be injured and fail. There is only one chance, and the risk is not just for show. The yellow-robed man said with jealousy, but the invisible young master's divine path is to become invisible. He can avoid danger in an invisible state at any time. The yin-yang wizard fire may not be able to do anything to him. This assessment is too advantageous for him. The silver-robed man smiled and shook his head. How can the yin-yang wizard fire be so simple? Watch patiently. The invisible young master came to the stairs, took a deep breath, and cast several defensive spells on his body. 3 layers of visible ripples circled around his body. If there was any danger, he could immediately resist it. After making all the preparations, the invisible young master stepped onto the stairs under everyone's gaze. As soon as he stepped on the stairs, the yin-yang wizard fire rose. The defensive spells on the invisible young master's body were activated, blocking the oncoming wizard fire. Only 1 layer of the spells was melted. The second step. It was as if a meteorite had been thrown into the waves. The yin-yang wizard fire rolled violently like a raging sea. A huge wave of fire, 30 feet high, came crashing down, instantly extinguishing his remaining 2 layers of defense. The invisible young master was shocked. There were still 8 stairs to the holy altar, which was very far. With the current yin-yang wizard fire, it would be very difficult to rush up. But if he retreated now, he would miss the great opportunity to become the saint's husband. Secondly, he had volunteered. If he gave up after only 2 steps, he would be a laughingstock. Gritting his teeth, the invisible young master stepped onto the 2nd floor. As expected, the moment he stepped onto the 3rd floor, the yin-yang wizard fire changed again. From the tsunami, a shark condensed from the wizard fire appeared. It opened its bloody mouth and bit him. At this critical moment, the invisible young master's transparent body suddenly became invisible. The wizard fire shark missed its target. However, from the wizard fire, another 7 or 8 sharks of different sizes dashed out and crashed around. All of a sudden, a giant shark crashed into a certain part of the void and let out a painful groan. The 9 sharks immediately rushed over, their giant mouths tearing and tearing. The invisible young master's face was pale. He stumbled out of the wizard fire and fled back in fright. There were many burns on his body, but the most serious was the damage to his soul. He would need a lot of time and precious medicinal herbs to recuperate. The yellow-robed man wanted to gloat, but the fate of the invisible young master made him unable to laugh. The expressions of the other examinees who were eager to give it a try also stiffened. "Sirs, is there anything that I would like to explain to everyone?" A young man who was nearing his 30s said, "Since ancient times, the yin-yang wizard fire has undergone a transformation every 3 steps, and the last step is a single transformation. Only after going through the tempering of the 4 transformations of the wizard fire can one pass the test. However, the transformation just now was very different from the past. Can you explain?" The 2 old-fashioned guardians said indifferently, "The content of each test is different. What's so strange about that? But if it's a transformation every step, doesn't it mean that we have to go through 10 transformations? Isn't this deliberately making things difficult for us?" The man said indignantly. The guardian said coldly, "If you want to withdraw from the competition, leave this place immediately. If you ask another question, you will be punished for disrupting the test." Only then did the man shut his mouth resentfully. Kaylin's eyes flickered slightly, and she secretly sent a message to Suyu. This must be the Saint Lady's arrangement. If the competition is too intense, she will increase the difficulty of the test and keep everyone out. Suyu came to a sudden realization and looked at the 2 expressionless guards. It seemed like they were on the Saint Lady's side. "Next challenger," the guardians said indifferently. However, there was silence. The sudden change in the test and the sudden increase in difficulty made them hesitate. The two guardians snorted softly, and the finger on their left pointed at the man who had questioned them just now. Since no one is willing to go up, we, the guardians, will arrange the order. You go first. The face of the man who had been pointed at changed abruptly, and he was furious. If you do not answer within 3 breaths, you will be considered to have given up. Upon hearing that, the man said angrily, "Fine. For the Saint Lady, I will go all out." He plucked up his courage and stepped onto the stairs. Sure enough, the yin-yang wizard fire changed on the first step. He was quite prepared. He crushed a piece of cloth densely covered with talismans, and the spinning of the cloth produced a great force that repelled the oncoming flames. Then came the second step. The wizard fire came crashing down, and he took out a wizard treasure, which was an umbrella-shaped object. The wizard fire came crashing down, but when it came into contact with the umbrella, it automatically separated. On the third step, 9 sharks rushed out at the same time, attacking the man by crashing, slamming, and biting. He was also prepared. He took out 100 feet of hair sealed with powerful talismans, and the hair burst forth with a powerful curse technique that was comparable to a level 4 deity's, eliminating all the sharks. On the fourth step, the yin-yang wizard fire suddenly shrank strangely, turning transparent and invisible. However, this was even more dangerous. No one could pinpoint where the wizard fire was. The man's heart trembled. He solemnly took out a statue, and after crushing it, a powerful fluctuation of a level 3 deity emerged from the statue, sweeping away the invisible wizard fire in front of him. The two guardians under the holy altar were also slightly moved. With such an exquisite statue in hand, he was determined to win this trip. However, when he reached the 5th step, the yin-yang wizard fire suddenly appeared, transforming into the form of Zhao Tianyin. The man was shocked, and a loophole appeared in his mind. Then, the man's soul was invaded by the wizard fire. He screamed on the spot, and blood flowed from all his orifices. The 5th step finally showed the power of the yin-yang wizard fire, which could restrain souls. What a pity! His 4 treasures were tempered for the 4 transformations test. If it were the previous tests, he would have successfully stood on the holy altar by now. The silver-robed man sighed regretfully. The yellow-robed man's eyes narrowed, and he could not help but feel angry. Who can pass such a test? A normal test could eliminate 8 or 9 out of 10 people. Wouldn't the 4 transformations test eliminate everyone? You have a lot of opinions. You're next. The guardian heard the yellow-robed man's words, and immediately pointed at him, inviting him to challenge him. The yellow-robed man's face turned pale, and he said in a deep voice without hesitation, "I give up. Goodbye." "Then it's you." The guardian pointed at the next person without any expression. I also give up." "Then you go." "I also give up." 2 challengers who were not weak were defeated in a row, which dealt a heavy blow to their self-confidence. Everyone who was called out immediately gave up. They didn't even have the thought of trying. In the end, almost everyone gave up. "Chu Bawang, you go." The guardian's eyes narrowed slightly, and he pointed at the genius from Fan Capital. In terms of strength, this young junior was no less than the 2 old guys. Chu Bawang looked back at the people who had not been tested. Su Yu, Kalin, Zhao Tianyin, and Wang Qingchen. He ignored the first 2, and only jumped back and forth between Zhao Tianyin and Wang Qingchen. He said coldly, "I will wait for you 2 first." After saying that, his figure came to the stairway like lightning, and he stepped on the first step without thinking. In an instant, the wizard fire rolled over. Chu Bawang did not even look at it and sneered. "The Saint Lady does not want anyone to marry her, and I, Chu Bawang, will go against her will. Get lost." As soon as he said that, the flames that rolled over were extinguished, and a wide path was opened. On the second step, the overwhelming wizard fire pressed down. Chu Bawang still did not look at it. "Get lost." His voice contained a trace of the wizard power of a level 3 wizard, and it directly dispersed the overwhelming flames. On the third step, the nine-headed shark had just appeared, but Chu Bawang did not retreat. He stepped forward and crushed the nine-headed shark with his tyrannical wizard power. On the fourth step, the wizard fire turned invisible. Chu Bawang was dismissive, and his nostrils flared. He walked straight past, and the invisible wizard fire was directly pushed away. On the fifth step, the wizard fire on the stairway suddenly transformed into the shadow of Zhao Tianyin. Chu Bawang sneered. "I am not afraid of him in person, what is a mere shadow to me?" After saying that, a wizard's spell was cast, shattering the shadow, and he stepped on the sixth step. The people under the holy altar stared blankly at Chu Bawang, who forcibly stepped on one step after another in a domineering manner. They could not help but be shocked. Chu Bawang's strength is much higher than it was back then. Not only that, you see, he has not even used his full strength on the ninth step. Whether or not he can pass depends on the 10th step. The changes on this step are often the most dangerous. Chu Bawang stood on the 9th step. Even as arrogant as he was slightly on guard before he stepped on the last step. Crash! The wizard fire converged into one yin and one yang. Two patterns in the shape of Tai Chi stood in front of Chu Bawang. It's the heaven-splitting yin and yang, the most dangerous test in the stairway assessment. Below the holy altar there was a cry of surprise. The heaven-splitting yin and yang was an unparalleled magical power left behind by the wizard ancestor. Until now, no one had comprehended it. It was left in front of his tomb, waiting for talented people to come and comprehend it. Occasionally, it would be activated and appear in the stairway assessment, but this book was extremely rare. It's amazing. This is the heaven-splitting yin and yang, and it recognizes Chu Bawang. Some people were surprised and envious. Even Zhao Tianyin and Wang Qingchen's expressions changed. The heaven-splitting yin and yang? How could Chu Bawang activate this magical power? Zhao Tianyin sneered contemptuously. Wang Qingchen's eyes were deep, and he shook his head slightly. This style did not appear because of him, but because it sensed another potential. Many years ago, Chu Bawang successfully ascended the holy altar, but at that time, the heaven-splitting yin and yang style did not appear. The two of them looked at each other, and sparks flew between them. If the heaven-splitting yin and yang style did not appear for Chu Bawang, then it must have appeared for one of them. The two guardians of the third heaven also looked at the two lost nation geniuses with great surprise. Chapter 1391. The guard on the right side with excitement and loneliness. This magical power has been sealed in the cenotaph for hundreds of millions of years. It has long developed its own spirituality and only appears in front of talented people. We have guarded the stairs for millions of years and have never appeared once. The guard on the left side and stared at the two of them. The future is destined to belong to them. Kalen's crystal eyes were filled with deep shock. It's actually the legacy left by the wizard ancestor. Hearing this, Su Yu's heart trembled. Outsiders didn't know who the wizard ancestor was, but the epic-making dragon told Su Yu that it was a terrible existence above the divine warriors of heaven and earth. He had left his legacy at the holy altar. Suddenly, Su Yu seemed to understand the method that the epic-making dragon mentioned. Only by learning the wizard ancestor's magical power could the power of the wizard ancestor be unlocked. Can anyone learn this technique? Su Yu's eyes shone brightly as he asked through telepathy. Kalen shook her head. How could it be so easy? If anyone could come to the holy altar to learn this technique, do you think the rulers of the four empires would not be interested? It was not difficult for a monarch of a dynasty to sneak into the holy altar. Back then, Gu Tiandao was an example. However, he had come to the holy altar in person and still did not take this magical power with him. It was obvious that it was not easy to learn it. I heard from the Saint Lady that it already has its own spirituality. To learn it, there are two conditions. First, it recognizes you and thinks that you are qualified to learn it. Second, you must be a member of the wizard tribe. Hearing the second condition, Su Yu sighed. However, Kalin seemed to feel something and said, "Do you know that if you marry the Saint Lady, you will experience the baptism of the wizard ancestor statue? If the baptism is successful, even if you are not a member of the wizard tribe, you will have the breath of the wizard tribe." Su Yu's eyes lit up, and he immediately understood Kalin's intention. "You want me to compete for the championship of the Saint Lady's husband selection?" Kalin smiled and looked at Su Yu from head to toe. "Who else but you? In terms of appearance, talent, and great wisdom, I think no one in the ancient god realm can surpass you. If you can become the husband of the Saint Lady, I think it should be her fortune." Su Yu said helplessly, "You flatter me, but I have no intention of marrying the Saint Lady." Kalin was surprised. "You should have seen the Holy Virgin before. She is as beautiful as a fairy, comparable to Yongye Chushue, the most beautiful woman in the ancient god realm. In terms of status, he would be the best candidate for the Moonwatch sect leader in the future. If you can assist him, the Lost Nation will be within your reach. Why would you refuse?" "It's not the Saint Lady's fault. It's my personal fault," Su Yu said. Su Yu wouldn't be able to accept other women if he didn't manage the relationship between Siener and Jingyu well. Kalin sighed. "Then it's impossible for you to practice the sky-splitting yin-yang style." Su Yu did not think so. The epic-making dragon's plan was to let Su Yu touch the inscriptions on the stone tablet. Now that he thought about it, if he touched the stone tablet, something would happen. Su Yu could practice the sky-splitting yin-yang style without marrying the Saint Lady. On the stairs, Chu Bawang was sweating profusely. His mouth kept bursting with spells one after another. There was a hint of annoyance on his face, which was a far cry from his previous relaxed demeanor. At this moment, the Tai Chi pattern suddenly circled around. The black and white colors alternated, rendering the huge stairs into a world of black and white. Under the illumination of the black and white light, Chu Bawang's whole body was sizzling with green smoke, as if he was about to be burned. The surging wizard power in his body not only failed to help him, but also boiled like a lit lamp. A sense of life and death crisis surged. Chu Bawang made a prompt decision and quickly retreated from the holy altar. The sky-splitting yin-yang style dissipated, and the abnormality in Chu Bawang's body quickly subsided. The assessment failed. The two guardians shook their heads slightly. The sky-splitting yin-yang style did not appear because of him. Chu Bawang's face sank, and his eyes were penetrating with extreme unwillingness. Next, Wang Qingchen. Wang Qingchen's eyes flashed, and he leaped straight up the stairs. When everyone followed his back, he had already walked up to the second floor. When they were still surprised, he had already passed the third floor. So fast. He didn't stop at all. Chu Bawang was slightly shocked. It was also an assessment, but Wang Qingchen not only behaved calmly, but his speed was also faster than him. It was not until he reached the fifth floor that the crowd barely caught up with his back. After each floor, Wang Qingchen's speed slowed down a little. Finally, he stopped on the ninth floor and his eyes were fixed. Qi. A yin-yang pattern silently appeared. In his deep eyes there was a flash of joy and relief. It seemed that the yin-yang pattern existed for him. The two guardians nodded slightly, and could not help but cast their eyes to see the sky-splitting yin-yang style that had not appeared for a long time. Wang Qingchen took a light breath and walked up the 10th step, his fighting spirit erupting. The wizard power, like the abyss, was endless and gathered into a powerful curse. Shaking heaven and splitting earth curse. Wang Qingchen's eyes suddenly opened, bursting with a powerful aura. His blue hair flew, and his clothes danced wildly. His entire temperament suddenly changed, becoming extremely fierce. At the same time, an unparalleled spell bombarded out, as if it really wanted to shake the sky and split the earth, tearing apart the Tai Chi pattern in front of him. The Tai Chi pattern rotated and easily absorbed the power of the wizard curse. Then, like the scene of Chu Bawang, the Tai Chi pattern burst into two kinds of overwhelming divine light, igniting Wang Qingchen. Wang Qingchen's will was tenacious. Under the internal and external torment, not only did he not retreat, but he also stimulated the wizard power that was already boiling. He shouted, "Indomitable spirit curse!" The deep wizard power in his body suddenly erupted like a geyser. Combined with the curse, an extremely tyrannical witchcraft broke out. A giant blade condensed from pure wizard power emerged from behind him, slashing down with the power of heaven and earth. Boom! The black and white light between heaven and earth was divided into two. After a moment of stalemate between the Tai Chi pattern and the blade, it collapsed with a loud bang. The residual blade energy swept across the sky, setting off a boundless wind, and Wang Qingchen's clothes fluttered. With his back to all living beings, Wang Qingchen, like a king, set foot on the holy altar. At this moment, the world was silent, as if it was silent for this king. The guardian took a deep breath, and his old face showed excitement and complex emotions. How many years has it been? Someone has broken through the sky-splitting yin-yang style. This is something that even the current sect leader has not done. God has mercy on us. The Moonwatch sect has produced another peerless talent. He is the real heir to the sect leader. Defeating the sky-splitting yin-yang style was equivalent to gaining the recognition of this style and being qualified to practice it. Such a difficult person was not the candidate for the sect leader. Who else could? Swish! A strong wind sounded, and a figure with a murderous aura appeared uninvited, stepping on the stairs. Humph! I am the heir to the Moonwatch sect. The saint, Zhao Tianyin, looked fierce and angry, as if the halo that belonged to him had been taken away. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. Zhao Tianyin exuded a terrible aura. The yin and yang wizard fire retreated on its own, not daring to approach him. The domineering aura of supremacy shocked the hearts of every spectator present. It was as if they saw the back of the Moonwatch sect leader high above them. On the 9th step, a shocking scene appeared. The Tai Chi pattern appeared again. The two guards were shocked. It appeared again? That's impossible. According to the ancient records, the sky-splitting yin-yang style only recognizes one person every time it appears. If that person passes the test, it will not appear again and wait for that person to comprehend it. What is going on? Why did it appear again? Zhao Tianyin said proudly, "I am the sect leader of the Moonwatch sect. The sky-splitting yin-yang style was created for me." After saying that, he cast a spell that was full of boundless power. What a powerful curse! The two guardians' faces were filled with solemnity. I haven't seen him for only a few years. Why is his sorcery power so pure? If I am not wrong, he is about to break through the shackles of level 2, right? The other guard also felt incredulous. What has the saint been practicing these years? His sorcery power has indeed changed dramatically. This is too abnormal. What shocked them even more was that the Tai Chi pattern was flickering under the attack. After holding on for half a breath, it suddenly shattered. The Tai Chi pattern did not even have time to release its black and white light before it was forcibly destroyed by Zhao Tianyin in a powerful way. Everyone looked up at Zhao Tianyin, who had ascended to the holy altar, and all of them trembled from the bottom of their hearts. This was the real heir of the Moonwatch sect. Although Wang Qingchen was strong, he was still a level lower than Zhao Tianyin. He was the one with the mandate of heaven. Wang Qingchen's eyes were full of fighting spirit. He stood on the holy altar and looked at Zhao Tianyin. Their eyes collided, and sparks seemed to fly. If it weren't for the holy altar, if it weren't for the name of the ancestor of sorcery, they would have been fighting at this moment. After a long time, Wang Qingchen took a breath and said, "You are indeed the strongest opponent in my life. Let's fight again in front of the Saint Lady." After saying that, he wrote his name on a list above the holy altar. Zhao Tianyin said arrogantly, "You are no match for me. If you want to die, I don't mind." As he said that, he also left his name on the list. Looking at the two heroes who were about to fight, many of the young people under the holy altar felt their blood boil. 15 years ago, the two heavenly talents fought against the world. 15 years later, they meet again, one for the name of the past, the other for the position of the sect leader, and they collide again. Ha ha ha, after 15 years, the lost nation will finally win a war that transcends time and space. Although I lost the right to choose a son-in-law this time, I witnessed the battle between the two heavenly talents with my own eyes. This trip was not in vain. This trip was not in vain. Under the holy altar, there was an uproar. Everyone felt that today's assessment was extremely intense. If the curtain was drawn on this scene, it would be a classic. Zhao Tianyin and Wang Qingchen also withdrew their gazes one after another, expressionless. Wait. Although the guards were equally excited, they did not forget their duties. There are still two people who have not participated in the assessment. If they step down from the holy altar now, they will be considered to have forfeited. Zhao Tianyin, Wang Qingchen, and everyone else present then turned their eyes to Su Yu and Kalin, who were so low-key that they were almost ignored. If it weren't for the guard's reminder, they would have forgotten that there were two inconspicuous candidates who were also left until the end. Wang Qingchen glanced at Su Yu and withdrew his footstep. I can see the result in 10 breaths. I am not short on time. 10 breaths, with the strength that Su Yu had shown, was only enough for him to climb the third step. Zhao Tianyin stared coldly at Kalin and snorted. What a waste of time. Chapter 1392. Kalin thought about it and said, I'll go first. I'll try to get to the 5th step. With your intelligence, I hope you can see the flaws. I can only help you this much. She felt that it was impossible for her to reach the holy altar, so she was willing to be Su Yu's stepping stone. Su Yu nodded faintly. The guard asked again, Who will go first? Kalin took a breath and was about to speak, but Su Yu answered first. He said leisurely, We came together, so of course we'll go together. With that, he chuckled, took Kalin's wrist, and walked towards the stairs. The guard was stunned. Together? Su Yu asked, Is there a rule that forbids it? The guard shook his head solemnly. There is no rule, but as a guard, it is my duty to remind you that if two people take the test at the same time, the difficulty will not increase exponentially. Su Yu was surprised. How many times? The guard enunciated clearly and forcefully, 10 times. However, to the guard's surprise, Su Yu said, Fortunately, it is within the acceptable range. The guard had no choice but to say seriously, Please listen to me, it is 10 times. If you can climb one step alone, you may not even be able to climb one step when the difficulty is 10 times higher. Su Yu said lightly, I know, it's just 10 times. As he spoke, he grabbed Kalin, who was at a loss, and came to the stairs. Originally, no one paid attention to the two of them. With the amazing assessment methods of Zhao Tianyin, Wang Qingchen, and Chu Bawang, who would care about two unknown examinees? However, when they heard that Su Yu was going to take another person up the stairs that were 10 times more difficult, they could not help but look horrified. Are you kidding? 10 times? Even Zhao Tianyin would not dare to be so arrogant, would he? This kid was probably stimulated by the assessment methods of the previous 3 geniuses and wants to attract everyone's attention. Haha, I also think this kid is trying to be in the limelight. However, if he is strong enough to be in the limelight, he is an idiot if he is weak. Come on, let's make a bet on how many toes he can rub on the stairs. I guess 0. When the wizard fire changes, he will be so scared that he will pee his pants. Ha ha ha. There was a burst of laughter and ridicule below the altar. Kalin's face turned red as she struggled to break free from Su Yu's grasp. However, she found that Su Yu's grip was like a pair of iron pincers that she couldn't break free from. She couldn't help but say anxiously, Let me go. You might be able to succeed if you go alone, but if you bring me along, there won't be any hope at all. Su Yu smiled at him. You've known me for so long. What do you think is the most impossible thing in the world? Kaylin was stunned. Su Yu's words were like a pillar that supported her heart. After a while, she realized that the person standing in front of her was none other than Su Yu. To him, was there anything impossible in this world? Does not exist. Suppressing the doubts in her heart, she obediently followed Su Yu and stepped onto the first step of the stairs. Everyone was silent as they watched the changes that were about to happen. How would the yin-yang wizard fire change when two people climbed the stairs at the same time? However, to everyone's surprise, the wizard fire kept retreating. That's right, from the first floor to the second floor, from the second floor to the third floor. It kept shrinking, and in the end it was all hidden under the stairs, not daring to come out in the slightest. It was as if the owner of the wizard fire, the Moonwatch sect leader, had come in person. The incomparably strange scene caused everyone on the holy altar to be dumbfounded, and they stared unblinkingly at the scene that had never happened before. The two guardians were also greatly shocked. What happened? Did the wizard fire run out of energy and dissipate? Huh? Above the holy altar, the two geniuses noticed the sudden silence below the holy altar and looked down. They couldn't help but be shocked at the same time. The yin-yang wizard fire was gone. Although the yin-yang wizard fire was not difficult for them, it was the first time that the wizard fire had retreated on its own during the assessment. What a lucky guy. He actually encountered an assessment malfunction that has never been seen before, Zhao Tianyin said contemptuously. However, the people below the holy altar didn't think so. Su Yu was confident that he could take a person to climb the stairs of 10 times the difficulty, yet the wizard fire had dissipated immediately. Was this a coincidence? No matter how much they wanted to watch the show, no matter how much they wanted to mock and ridicule, they didn't think it was a coincidence. Wang Qingchen stared deeply at Su Yu and said nothing. The surroundings were silent, but Su Yu was unaffected as he stepped onto the second step with Kaylin. However, an unforgettable scene appeared. Su Yu had just lifted his foot when on the second step, two kinds of light, black and white, gathered and condensed into a huge Tai Chi pattern. The sky-splitting yin-yang style? Many of the examinees below the holy altar were stunned. The guards who had guarded this place for millions of years were stunned. On the holy altar, the two geniuses' eyes were also instantly fixed. They had no time to ask why the sky-splitting yin-yang style, which had been broken twice, appeared for the third time. They were all shocked by the appearance of the sky-splitting yin-yang style on the second step. This situation had never been recorded in any record. The sky-splitting yin-yang style only appeared occasionally in the assessment, and it only appeared on the last step as the most difficult finale assessment. However, what the hell was this about appearing on the second step? They were still immersed in this incomprehensible weirdness, and the next scene was unforgettable for them. Sizzle! Sizzle! 8 consecutive sounds were heard, and a scene that they would never forget appeared. After that, a taiji symbol appeared on every step of the flight of stairs. Except for the first step where Su Yu was standing, the remaining 9 steps each had a Tai Chi pattern. This scene silenced the audience. The examinees, the guards, and the two geniuses were all stunned in place. 9 Tai Chi patterns, testing 2 people. No, to be precise, it was testing Su Yu alone. Hiss, how is this possible? Even with Chu Bawang's temperament, he could not help but take a deep breath. His words were like a stone falling into a calm lake, splashing ripples. How could this be? The 9 sky-splitting yin-yang styles appeared at the same time, just to test one person. The examinees recovered from their daze and were shocked. If the appearance of one sky-splitting yin-yang style means that a person's talent is extraordinary, then when 9 appear at the same time, doesn't it mean that his talent is far better than that of the saint and Wang Qingchen by 9 times? Wait, could it be that the Tai Chi patterns that appeared 3 times before were not actually for Chu Bawang, Wang Qingchen, or Zhao Tianyin, but for him? This bold speculation made them even more shocked and even more incredulous. However, the 9 Tai Chi patterns were right in front of them, telling them that this was not an illusion. Wang Qingchen's pupils shrank to the size of a needle, and his heart was in turmoil. The examinees' guesses might not be correct, but they might not be wrong either. Historically, there had been cases of simultaneous tests, but it was not the 9 Tai Chi patterns that appeared, but the yin-yang wizard fire's power increased tenfold. Wang Qingchen finally looked at Su Yu and observed his every move. Zhao Tiannin's face was gloomy. Su Yu was not a lucky person who relied on luck. He was clearly a talented existence. His eyes immediately burst with murderous intent. Anyone who threatened him would be eliminated by any means necessary. Especially this kind of person who shocked the world. Kaylin was also surprised, but looking at Su Yu's back, she took it for granted that this was normal. It was as if anything that happened to this man was not surprising at all. Su Yu himself was a little surprised. He did not expect the sky-splitting yin-yang style to appear for him, and all 9 of them at the same time. However, since he was here, of course he had to give it a try. Su Yu took out the true sky flute of heavenly melody and played the ethereal celestial music. The wonderful sound was intoxicating and calming. The Tai Chi pattern that blocked the second step shook and retreated silently. On the third step, the Tai Chi pattern continued to retreat. On the fourth step, everyone was stunned, and their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Whether it was the defeated Chu Baowang, the hard-won Wang Qingchen, or the powerful Zhao Tiannin, all of them displayed great magical powers to resist the sky-splitting yin-yang style. But what about Su Yu? As if he was taking a leisurely stroll, he played the celestial music elegantly and easily resolved the terrible Tai Chi patterns one after another. From the perspective of outsiders, Su Yu was not taking an assessment. He was clearly taking a beauty on an outing. However, the Tai Chi pattern became more and more stable. When they reached the 9th step, the Tai Chi pattern on the last step was basically unaffected by the celestial music. Su Yu calmly put away the flute, held Kaylin in one hand, and gently touched the Tai Chi pattern with the other. In his body, a pure and strange power rolled along his finger and touched the Tai Chi pattern. The indestructible Tai Chi pattern melted like snowflakes. Su Yu smiled faintly, took Kaylin, and ascended the holy altar with ease. At this moment, the world was silent. This unprecedented ascension form shocked them to the extreme. No one would think that the 9 Tai Chi patterns were just decorations, especially the last one. Even though they were far away, they could still feel the terrible danger. However, Su Yu easily resolved them one by one. From beginning to end, the 9 Tai Chi patterns did not even have time to exert their power. Such a shocking method made them extremely surprised. Who is he? Is he from Xing capital or Fan capital? Which big clan is he from? I don't know him, and I've never heard of him. Impossible. How could such a person be a nobody? Could it be someone from the Saint Lady's side? The woman dressed as a man is undoubtedly a close confidant of the Saint Lady. They have been together all this time. If it was someone from the Saint Lady's side, then it made sense. Even so, the magnificent feat of shattering the 9 Taiji patterns one by one had greatly frightened them. The 2 guards looked at each other, their eyes full of solemnity. We must inform the leader. Something big has happened. The 2 read each other's eyes. On the holy altar, Su Yu ignored Wang Qingchen's shining eyes and ignored Zhao Tiannin's murderous intent. He let go of Kaylin and came to the tombstone alone. The inscription on the tombstone had been washed over by hundreds of millions of years, and it had long been blurred. However, Su Yu could sense that the tombstone contained a wisp of warm energy. Finally, I've come to this step. Su Yu took a step forward and touched the inscription with his palm. The people who had been watching Su Yu's every move were shocked. The examinees all had strange expressions on their faces as they looked at each other. Is he crazy? Instead of signing on the list, He touched the inscription? This. I'm not mistaken, right? Touching the inscription means that he wants to. The two guards also noticed Su Yu's actions, and their faces changed drastically. They shouted in unison, "Stop, don't touch the tombstone." Chapter 1393. The tombstone shook slightly, leaving Su Yu's palm print on it. Only then did Su Yu retract his palm and quietly wait for the next change of the tombstone. After a few breaths, the tombstone calmed down. Except for the additional palm print, nothing unusual happened. Su Yu was suspicious. He had left his palm print on the tombstone according to the epoch-making dragon's instructions. Why didn't he see the beginning? Staring at the palm print, everyone present was stunned and speechless. They stared at Su Yu and the palm print without blinking. The two guards looked solemn, as if the sky had collapsed. Zhao Tianin's murderous intent was even more apparent. He stared at Su Yu and bellowed, "How dare you? How dare you disregard me?" Wang Qingchen, who was quiet, also had a fierce look in his eyes. He said, "Good. I admit that I underestimated you, but what you did today shows that you don't take us seriously. Do you want to be the enemy of all the younger generation of the Lost Nation?" Su Yu was surprised, but his expression was calm. He stood in place without saying a word. In fact, he didn't know anything, so he simply kept his mouth shut to avoid saying too much and giving himself away. At that moment, he heard a subtle voice in his ear. Kaylin looked strange and surprised. "Su Yu, don't tell me your purpose of coming to the holy altar is to leave a palm print on the tombstone?" She knew that Su Yu's purpose was to climb the holy altar, but she didn't know what Su Yu's intention was. Now, looking at the palm print, her face was full of shock. At the same time, a strange look appeared on her face as she looked at Su Yu suspiciously. Su Yu said, "Well, that is my purpose, but I don't know what leaving a palm print means. It seems that everyone looks a little strange." Kaylin's eyes rolled back and she almost fainted from anger. She was angry and amused at the same time. "You don't know anything at all, and you dare to leave a palm print on the tombstone of the wizard ancestor? I really don't know if you are bold or arrogant. You don't take the wizard tribe seriously." Taking a deep breath, Kaylin said with a solemn look, "I'm sorry to tell you that I'm afraid you are in big trouble. Leaving a palm print on the tombstone of the wizard ancestor only means one thing in the wizard tribe since ancient times." "What does it mean?" Su Yu had a bad premonition. The epoch-making dragon had been acting so mysteriously just for this moment. Challenge the sect master of the divine sect and fight for the position of sect master. Kaylin said word by word. Su Yu's pupils shrank and he gasped. Challenge the Moonwatch sect master? Even Su Yu's expression changed continuously. He had never seen the dreadfulness of the Moonwatch sect master with his own eyes, nor had he read any records about it. However, as the king of the sorcerer tribe, one could imagine just how powerful he was. At the very least, he was a heaven-shaking powerhouse who could stand on equal footing with the rulers of the four great dynasties. Asking Su Yu to challenge such a peerless expert was no different from committing suicide. It was as if he could hear the laughter of the epoch-making dragon from billions of miles away. Su Yu steadied his mind and quickly calmed himself down. "Do you have an acceptance speech?" Kai Lin asked. Su Yu said, "Can I erase the palm print and pretend that I have never been here?" Kai Lin. "No," Kai Lin replied very seriously. "Even if you want to erase it, you have to see if everyone here agrees to it. Since ancient times, anyone who has openly challenged the sect master will be sent to the saint sect to have a fair battle with the sect master to determine who is qualified to be the sect master." Kaylin said, "When you left your palm print on it, you signed a contract. Unless you die, this contract will exist and will never be erased." Su Yu said, "What is the form of the challenge? Should we stop or?" "Only one person is allowed to live. This is a matter of the dignity of the Moonwatch sect, and it will never change." After listening, Su Yu said, It seems that I have no choice but to challenge the sect master of the Moonwatch sect. At this point, Su Yu also understood where Zhao Tiannin's murderous intent and Wang Qingchen's fierceness came from. Since ancient times, no one had dared to challenge the current sect master, because every sect master was the strongest person of the wizard tribe. Despite Zhao Tiannin's amazing talent and extraordinary arrogance, he could only compete with the Saint Lady for the inheritance and never dared to take the initiative to challenge the sect master. The same was true for the Saint Lady. She was like water and fire in the battle with the saint, and it was extremely difficult, but she never dared to challenge the sect master. Su Yu's initiative to challenge the sect master undoubtedly showed that he did not take the younger generation seriously. Anyone who was proud and arrogant could not stand Su Yu's challenge to the sect master. Under the holy altar, after a moment of shock, someone immediately became angry. How sacred is the sect master? How can he allow a junior to challenge him at will? Before challenging the sect master, first fight with me, and then talk about it? Humph! What's the point of fighting? Isn't it easier to just kill him? He is not even qualified to stand in front of the sect master. A group of young people were full of vigor. They all thought that Su Yu was provoking them, and they all threatened to fight Su Yu. The contract has been signed. No one is allowed to obstruct or kill him until the challenge begins. Otherwise, you will suffer the backlash of the wizard ancestors' power. Don't blame us for not reminding you. The two guards shouted. The group of infuriated wizards gritted their teeth, but there was nothing they could do to Su Yu. After that, the two guards looked at each other and solemnly took out a dusty wooden box from their bosoms. The wooden box had the scent of millions of years left, and it was extremely old. It was obvious that it had not been opened for a long time. The two of them walked up the holy altar with solemn expressions, step by step, under the watchful eyes of the crowd. Their footsteps were steady, strong, and firm. There was reverence and piety in their expressions as they walked up to Su Yu with the wooden box in their hands. State your name. Su Yu. The guard on the right nodded indifferently, and his melodious voice pierced through the sky. On the first day of the 10th lunar month of the primordial era, the wizard Su Yu challenged the current sect master, by Xiaofeng. The spirit of the wizard ancestor can bear witness, and the 380th generation of guards, Mo Sang and Mo Yu, notarized the challenge. As he spoke, Mo Yu, the guard on the left, opened the dusty wooden box, and a purple thunder mark floated in it. When the mark appeared, the palm print on the tombstone immediately flickered and gradually melted away. Soon, it did not diminish in the slightest, as if it had never been there. However, the thunder mark had some kind of connection with Su Yu, and with a swoosh, it disappeared between Su Yu's eyebrows. Suddenly, a thunder mark appeared on Su Yu's forehead. The mark was filled with the destructive power of the wizard ancestor, and it was exceptionally terrifying. At the same time, a boundless ripple radiated from the thunder, covering all directions. From the vicinity of the holy altar to the wizards at the edge of the lost nation, they all sensed the ripple that was rarely seen since ancient times. The ripple swept across them, and they were all shocked. What? Someone directly challenged the sect master and fought for the position of sect master? Somewhere in the great hall, a girl with big eyes and bright, pure eyes suddenly exclaimed. In Xing capital and Fan capital, several powerful level 3 wizard auras burst forth. For a moment, sorcery power was monstrous, rolling between heaven and earth. Who is so bold as to try to surpass the Saint Temple and the Saint Lady Temple and fight for the position of sect master? Somewhere in the dark mountains, the army was like a dark cloud pressing down on the border. On the golden throne, a young man full of boundless defiance suddenly flashed, and the corners of his mouth cracked into a sneer. Interesting, someone is challenging the sect master at this time. Humph, the heavens are really on my side. In the space of the cave, sensing the ripple sweeping across the top of his head, the epic-making dragon smiled mysteriously. It's finally about to begin. I hope you can get that good fortune. On the holy altar, after Mo sang and Mo Yu handed over the wooden box, they looked at Su Yu deeply and said, "The assessment of the holy altar is over. The losers can come again tomorrow to challenge." However, the focus of the people present was no longer on the Saint Lady's son-in-law. Instead, it was a rare opportunity to challenge the sect master. No matter what the other party was relying on, it was an extraordinary event that had not happened in a long time. Under the banishment of Mo Sang and Mo Yu, most of the wizards below the holy altar left. Su Yu, under the watchful eyes of many people, looked relaxed and prepared to leave with the crowd. However, Mo Sang stopped Su Yu and took out the list. "Please sign." Su Yu was stunned. "I need an autograph?" His trip was not to compete to be the Saint Lady's husband. "Yes. You touched the tombstone and signed the highest contract. This contract of being the husband will take effect at the same time." "Huh?" Su Yu was stunned and looked at Kaylin. Kaylin held back her laughter and turned her head away. "If you go up to the holy altar and do nothing, you don't have to sign, but how would I know that you would sign the highest contract of challenging the sect master? If the highest contract exists, you will have to abide by all the other contracts on the holy altar. You will have to sign this signature whether you want to or not." Su Yu was stunned. He finally understood what the epic-making dragon meant when he said that a handsome young man like him had more hope. It turned out that the epic-making dragon knew that no matter how hard Su Yu tried to avoid it, he would eventually fall into the Saint Lady's son-in-law selection. The corners of Su Yu's mouth twitched slightly. After thinking about it, he signed his name. It was one thing for him to participate, but if he deliberately admitted defeat, no one could stop him, right? After signing, Mo Sang and Mo Yu walked down the holy altar, no longer stopping them. "Humph! You're on your own." Zhao Tianyin did not hide his murderous intent. He stared coldly at Su Yu and left on the seven-colored unicorn. Wang Qingchen also looked at Su Yu and said sternly, "Saint Lady's son-in-law selection, take care." After saying that, he stepped on the white cloud and floated away. Su Yu shrugged indifferently. The thunder mark between his eyebrows had its advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage was that it was a contractual constraint. If Su Yu violated the contract, the power of the wizard contained in the mark would erase Su Yu. The advantage was that it was a life-saving talisman. Before the challenge with the sect master was completed, anyone who tried to harm Su Yu would be killed by the power of the wizard in the mark. This was why Zhao Tianyin, who was eager to kill him, gave up so easily. The reason was that they did not dare to attack Su Yu. When Su Yu came to the bottom of the holy altar, everyone had already left. Only one person stood with his arms crossed, waiting for Su Yu quietly. "You want to challenge me too?" Su Yu looked at Chu Bawang indifferently. He did not like this gloomy man very much. Chu Bawang said coldly, "Yes. However, the reason is not because you are participating in the Saint Lady competition, nor is it because you want to challenge the sect master, but—" His eyes remained cold. "You touched something that you should not have touched. The sky-splitting yin-yang style,